Okay, good evening, everyone, in Korea or the Philippines. So it is nighttime, and this is might be the second time I'm doing a nighttime live stream here in South Korea. And actually, good morning for the first time for those in the United States, from the West Coast to the East Coast. So yeah, we are gonna have a special guest today. But before I introduce the special guest, I just want to give what's going on in South Korea. At one point, we were doing good with the pandemic. We didn't have any cases for the past week, but now this week, here in my city in Daejeon, we are having more cases pick up again, which I do not like receiving those text messages. So that's what's been going on here in South Korea. So without further ado, as I see my guest is ready, or she's putting out some information about this live stream. Yes, I have this guest today, and I actually stumbled onto her channel just on an alert because I'm always interested because I do a lot of Philippines Korean content together, and so I had a chance to watch a lot of the videos, and it was quite intriguing and interesting about her story. But I am not going to give it away. I'm going to have the special guest give all the stories, and if you have any questions for her, please feel free to ask it, and let's have a fun stream. Okay. Without further ado, Ronica,
Hi
how
guys,
are you?
I'm doing good.
All
How
right.
about you?
And would you tell the audience who you are?
Okay. So hi guys, I'm Ronica and I live here in South Korea. I'm married to a Korean and that's about it. I don't know
Okay.
what else to say.
No, that's good enough. And of course, we'll start it off. And here's one of my guys. This is Go More Hike. He likes hiking, so he's saying
Hi.
hello.
I'm just
So
sharing your live now on my Facebook page.
okay, no problem. And we'll have people come and trickle in. And there's Scott. He's from Michigan, so he is a truck driver. So he's going to be
Hello.
listening to our stream.
Nice.
And yeah, and he says Bama's awake, which means Go More Hike is from the state of Alabama.
Okay. So that's why
So
is that why his name is Bama? Alabama? I'm not really sure.
that's why I call him Bama.
Okay, all right, got it.
So it comes from a lot of the references. Okay, so before everyone starts trickling in, Ronica, what have you been doing lately since I seen you last Saturday on your live stream?
Um, Aside from the usual work, I have like a part-time job. I actually avoid doing full-time jobs. On a regular basis, I just like go like exercise or do some private classes or go out with my husband, edit videos, shoot videos. Basically, that's it. That's it. I think it has been a routine.
Okay, and oh, and look who's here.
Hi,
Hey,
Shannon. So
I
that is like
remember
one of
her
my
too.
subscribers. Iranians represent. So we call ourselves Iranians.
Okay, yeah. And how do you know Shannon?
Shannon is my subscriber.
Okay,
And
and
she's
is she?
actually a teenager. She's only, I think, 18, if I'm not mistaken. 18, 19,
Oh,
something like that.
okay. So she's back home in the Philippines, or
Yeah.
some?
So it's still
Okay,
quite early in the Philippines. It's just like 10 p.m.
yeah. Okay, and look who else showed up.
Of course, the president of my club.
Oh,
Hi,
she's the
Anime.
first.
So it's like, it's kind of funny because a lot of my subscribers are young. I mean, not a lot, but I was surprised that I have like teenagers as my subscribers.
Okay,
Usually I would just, I mean, expect that my subscribers would be like the age range of, let's say, 25 years old and up. So
yeah.
because of my content, right? So, but surprisingly, I have, when I look at my analytics, you can see like people from ages 13 to 17 watching my videos, something like that. So it's kind of unexpected, but it's fun.
Okay. And I would take it, I'm just going to take a guess, like they're interested about your life in Korea, how Korea is.
I think so. It's probably like I think the main thing would be like the Korean culture in general.
Yeah.
So they're very interested in anything and everything Korean.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I bet. Okay. And here is Bama. He has a question for you.
Yeah.
So he says, of course, he's asking, are you from the Philippines and are you a teacher?
All right. So Gomer Hike, how do I address you? Like, what is his name? Is it like just Gomer Hike?
Yeah, all right. I call him Bama because he's from Alabama.
Okay, so Bama. So Bama, yes, I'm from the Philippines. I am a teacher, but I'm actually a nurse by profession. But here in Korea, I teach English. So it's kind of hard to be a nurse in Korea. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And okay, Bama gives us. Yeah, and he always. This is his shout out to everyone when Bama comes onto my stream.
Scott B in the house. Who's Scott B? Or
Scott's the truck driver from Michigan.
okay, all right. Okay, so they get to interact.
Yeah, that's the thing. Right. It's very encouraged to interact.
That's good.
Yeah. And of course, I've watched a lot of your videos. So the interesting part was when you met your husband.
Oh, was it the first video that you've watched? Or, I mean, sorry, I want to ask you something. How did you stumble upon, I mean, how did you discover my channel?
It just showed up on the alerts because I was because since I have a lot of guests on my channel, so the next group of people I wanted to find was Filipinas, living in Korea.
Okay.
Or even, living a married life in Korea. How do you interact with the family and all that stuff?
Okay. All right.
So,
okay. But you were not a subscriber of mine, right? Prior to that. You're not subscribed to my channel prior to that.
No, I just stumbled and I saw what I liked and I said, I got to subscribe and
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
So, but I remember you were doing the first time you met. That's the video I saw.
I think, actually, the funny thing is that I think that video paved the way for my other videos to be recognized, or for my channel in general to be recognized. So, because I actually was quite baffled why that video was not taking off. For some reason, a lot of viewers are interested with like how I met my husband in general, that topic. And then an added one would be like how I met my Korean husband. So, but I don't know. I think I just put on the right tags, like the tag words and stuff. Yeah. And I was surprised, like suddenly like became 10,000 views, and then I think now it's at 97,000 views, something like that. And I think I shot that video around first week of June, I think, because as a background info, my channel got monetized around May, second week of May 8th, I think. Yeah, so I think it was a good thing that I shot that video after my channel was monetized. So it kind of helped, in terms of monetization and stuff. So yeah, so that was the video that paved way for my channel to be recognized. So
okay. Wow, so that's a nice story. And Bama has a question. Are you a beauty blogger?
Bama, I wish. How I wish. I'm a very basic, I would call like a basic girl. I don't know how to, I think if you like watch videos, you can learn, especially for us women. But I wouldn't want to say, or I don't want to say I'm not vain, but I'm very basic, meaning I would just like put on my eyebrows, my eyeliner, my like lipstick, or what do you call that? Lip gloss, something like that. But as for a beauty vlogger, no, I wish I am, because a lot of my friends and a lot of my subscribers would even tell me like, Onni is like an older sister, right, in Korea. why don't you review these items, or why don't you make a reaction video, review video, something like that, a makeup video? But I would always tell them, I don't do videos that I think I cannot give justice to. You know what I mean? It's kind of
Yeah.
hard. Like, it wouldn't be that credible. Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, because I saw you do the unboxing of a bag.
Oh, okay, yeah, that was sent to me. So I
Yeah.
was pretty surprised that I was given. I mean, I know for a fact that this brand gives bags to other YouTubers, and I've seen this brand from my other YouTuber friends back in the Philippines and abroad. But I didn't really expect that they would give me a bag. I mean, they would send me a bag, or they would even ask me to review a bag, since my fan base is not that big. Like what I always say, my channel is not that big yet. Yet.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I was really glad and honored to have received their bag. And I think the person in charge was quite happy with how I reviewed the bag, and like I added some, what do you call that, like some clips, like dramatic clips in the beginning, something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then I also have another, I mean, because of Bama's question, if I'm a beauty vlogger, right? I actually receive skincare line, like skincare products from a
Yeah.
company. But it's not, I don't really have to review it.
Yeah.
I can just feature it in some videos, like Get Ready With Me, or I can also review the products, but it's really up to the YouTuber or the content creator what kind of video he or she will
Yeah.
do with the product. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and here's George. I think George is in Canada, so he's saying
He's
great
from
time for a
Germany. He says
oh
Germany.
he's
Yeah.
in Germany, yes. And the 3 or 4 of my street. So we're helping them kill time right now.
Oh my gosh. I think Corona just messed up with their body clock.
Yeah.
I've been sleeping like 3 or 4 in the morning on a daily basis. I'm trying to avoid that.
I feel you.
So hard. I really don't know like how I can go back to my normal body clock.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been tough on me too, so I'm in the same boat you are.
How I wish. How I wish I can go back to my normal body clock, my normal schedule.
Yeah. Oh, and this is Yan. She's in Papanga.
Hi.
Yeah. She's a YouTuber too.
Hi, Yan. I'm also a YouTuber. I'm from Manila.
Yeah.
Sometimes around maybe from my place. I don't know, because Manila traffic's really bad. But I think
Yeah.
it depends on which where in Pampanga. But I think like around 3 hours, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. I haven't been to Pampanga for the longest time, so.
Yeah. Yeah. And she was my first guest ever, Veronica.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So she's married to American and he's in Florida right now.
Oh, okay. So she's residing in Florida right now.
No, she's in the Philippines. She's in Papanga. So
Okay,
they're separated right now. The husband's working in Florida.
so it's like a long distance thing.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. It's okay as long as you're just separated geographically, but you're not really separated like
Yeah.
legally.
Yeah. Oh, and Bama wants to know, what is it like growing up in the Philippines?
I like Bama's questions. I'm enjoying this stream. I mean, that I'm very talkative, but I haven't like really talked in English, or I haven't spoken in English like this, except in tag ones. But anyway, going back to Bama's question, tell us about growing up in the Philippines. What was it like? What does he want to know? I mean, I think my childhood was pretty normal, because I don't know, like I'm a millennial. I was born in the like late 80s, so I was able to experience the old computers. I don't know if you can relate to me, the DOS, without not the Windows yet, and then
Yeah.
no internet, the dial-up internet, the phones and everything. So I guess like compared to like what children are experiencing now, I have, or the kids, people my age back when we were like kids, we had a, how do I say it? More interesting childhood than children nowadays. I would say that.
Yeah.
Like that. Pretty much it's just normal. I mean, it's not like anything interesting. What was it
Yeah.
like growing up I don't know what he wants to know about how or what was it like growing up in the Philippines. Maybe if
Yeah.
he can be more specific. Like I grew up with a brother.
Yeah.
We went to Catholic schools because Philippines is a predominantly Catholic country.
Oh yeah.
We did the normal stuff like we go to school, we meet our friends, we go to clubs when we're able to, like when we reach that age. Like I learned how to drive when I was 16, and I got to drive by myself when I was 18.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, because you know that in the Philippines, I mean, they changed the curriculum now.
Yeah.
Before it used to be like just 10 years from elementary to high school. We didn't have like, or we didn't have the middle school, the 3 years, like junior high, something like that. But
Correct.
now they changed it to 12 years.
Okay.
So I actually entered university when I was 16 or 17, like 16, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
16, pretty much.
That's common.
I graduated when I was 16. So by the age of 20, I already finished work. I mean, I already finished college and I took the nursing board exams and I was working at age 20, but I started working in the hospital at age 21. So
Oh.
pretty much it's like that. Like you enter, like you finish school, you get a job, and then it's up to you if you want to get married right away or you want to pursue like further education, taking masters and stuff. But yeah, and we used to travel. I got to travel to the US when I was 11. So
Oh wow.
it was my first plane ride. So yeah, I got to see Disneyland in Florida, Universal Studios when I was 11. So that was my first out of the country trip.
Yeah. Wow. You did more stuff than other Filipinos I talked to.
All right.
Yeah. Wow.
I can, if I can just recall, or yeah, but
Yeah.
pretty much it's just normal. I think my childhood was normal.
Yeah. And cell phone number.
Ah, how I wish, but I mean I don't know Roy Jones. I think you were not at the very beginning or the initial
Yeah.
part of this video, and I just introduced myself. I just said I'm married to a Korean.
Yeah. Yeah. She's married. So, and yep. And everyone's giving their regards. And there's Bama. I love how he gives everyone regards. Okay. And look at Bama here. He's never been to the Philippines.
Huh?
So he wants to go there on his next trip.
Oh, you're nice. Wait, I mean, what makes him interested regarding?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah. Yeah. You never forget your first and then they forget you. Yeah. Okay.
do you have any advice?
Actually, he has a question here, Bama.
Uh-huh. Do you have any advice for a man going there for the first time? Hmm. I probably just be safe.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it depends on which part of the Philippines you want to go to. I mean, do you want to explore the city? Do you want to explore the provinces, the beaches? Because, like, for example, if you're gonna tell me, I want to go to like a white sand beach, and usually they're gonna recommend Boracay and stuff. And of course, I'm gonna give you an advice like bring cash because there aren't a lot of ATM machines there. I'm not really sure nowadays, but when I went there back then, there aren't a lot of ATM machines, right? So
Yeah.
it really depends on what kind of activity that you would want to do or where you want to do or where you want to go. Then I could
Yeah.
give you like, specific advice.
Yeah. Yeah. I learned I carry small denominations in the Philippines.
Exactly. Because we have like from 10 pesos, 20, 50, 100, 500. Oh, no, we also have 200, 100,
Yeah.
200, 1,000. Unlike in the US, you only have like 10, 20, 100. Do you have 50? Sorry, 10
Yeah. 10, 20, 50, and 100.
and 100, right? But In
Yeah.
our case, we have like 100, 200, 500 bill and 1,000. So
Yeah. Yeah. So those little 10 peso coins were my
hey,
best
they
friends.
changed that. It used to be a bill. They changed
Yeah.
that. Yeah, even
Yeah.
the 5 peso coin, it used to be a paper. Like it used to be in the form of a paper, like a bill.
Yeah. Yeah. Once in a while, I would see that in a paper bill. I was
But
like,
I
what's
think
this?
that's not accepted anymore in like
Yeah.
stores.
So it's a rarity. Okay. And Jan says, oh, Manila to Pampanga is an hour or so.
Oh,
So
really?
I'm,
I'm from Cubao because that is the like the northern part of Manila, but I'm from the southern part of Manila. So that would be like probably double. I mean, from where I lived going to Cubao would be like probably an hour, 2 hours, so probably like 3 hours, I would guess.
oh, wow. Okay. Okay. Bama, you're a millennial.
Millennial. So probably is
Yeah.
born like 80s, early 80s or like late
Yeah.
80s.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he loves it. And here's a question for you from George.
How do you like the Korean culture in general, or because I mean there are different aspects of the Korean culture, right?
Yeah.
In
Well,
in,
start
in,
with
in
general.
general, I like it. I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, for one, I have to because my husband is Korean, right? And
Yeah.
I think for you to be able to assimilate in the society, you really have to love the culture. It will be harder. It will be easier for you to adjust, to adapt. To be
Yeah.
honest, right?
Yeah. And
Wait, Mary,
let's,
Shannon, and Ame, please drop your questions now just for my subscribers. I'm
yeah.
from the past millennial. What does that
Yeah.
so
He's
meaning?
older.
So like
Yeah.
Gen
Generation X.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, I was about to say that Generation X because they have like the Gen Z and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah. Baby boomers.
I think we have
Huh?
what do we have now? Generation Z, Gen Z.
I think it's Gen Z now. Yeah.
Okay,
That's,
I think they're gonna use up all the letters in the alphabet probably.
yeah. We'll have to add an double
We
letters.
have someone Nitban. Hello, everyone.
Yeah. Nip Bomb is in California. So he's,
Oh,
so yeah, I have a lot of Westerners in my group
okay.
here. So, yeah, and let's see. And this is Daniel T. He is actually a Filipino American.
Oh, hi. Where is he based? Where is he residing?
Right now he's in Florida, but he was in Lapu Lapu.
So that would be Cebu, right?
Yeah.
So
So
he's a Filipino American, but he's not like serving in the army or something. He's just like a
no.
okay, all right.
Yeah. He's kind of like me, like I'm a Korean American.
Kind of like
So
me. No, I'm a pure Filipino with some Chinese and Spanish blood on the side.
yeah. And so yeah, so Daniel has joined us. Yeah. And Daniel, actually, here's a funny thing. He has a Korean girlfriend that lives in my city.
Oh, so it's probably no. It's like we are more. How do I say it? Like we are like more in the same situation because he's a Filipino, I'm Filipina, and his girlfriend is a Korean, and my husband is a Korean. So Bama has a question. Did you grow up on a farm or in the city? I grew up in the city. My parents well my parents they were also born in the city. Like their families are not they're not all I think all of my family members grew up in the city. I mean they had their provinces, but during my parents' time I think they were all born and raised in the cities. So I really don't know their dialects. So for example in my from my mom's side, I mean her family is based in Iloilo. I'm not sure if you know that.
Yeah, Iloilo.
Yeah, Iloilo, yeah, something like that in the Visayas region.
Yeah,
And then my father would be in Mindoro, which is in the Luzon region, something like
yeah.
that. But I don't know any of their dialects. I wish
Oh,
yeah, I want to learn their dialects, but yeah, I didn't have the chance. And I haven't also had a chance to visit their provinces. Kind of funny, like you live in the Philippines, but you don't get to explore your country.
Yeah, because Iloilo's on my bucket list.
So you know that how Iloilo, I mean, you know that like how they describe the people living in Iloilo, right? I forgot what they're Ilonggo.
Okay,
They're
speaking
called Ilonggos.
Longo.
For example, Cebu, so they're called Cebuanos, people living there.
Yeah.
So they Ilonggos are known to be like when how do I say it? Like when they talk, like they speak in a very sweet tone.
Okay.
They're known for that.
Yeah. And Visayan's a little different.
Ah, okay.
Visayan kind of freaked me out the first time when I went to Cebu because
Uh-huh.
my girlfriend tells me this. It's like they talk like they're angry, but they're not.
Who from Cebuanos?
Yeah, because I was like, and I'm like,
Yeah. So in the Visayas region, like it also
yeah,
depends on their dialect. Like for example, Ilonggos, they have like this sweet tone. When you go to Cebu or when you go to, let's say, Samar, Leyte, like
yeah,
they're kind of scary. How do I say it? Like in Tagalog, we have this term matapang, like strong.
yeah.
So like how Koreans are when they talk to one another. Like, are you
Oh,
guys
yes.
arguing? Something like that. Even I would always ask my husband, why are you shouting at your mom? Why are you guys arguing? And then my husband would say, no, we're just having a normal conversation.
Yep.
So some provinces in the Philippines are like that as well. Because
Yeah.
also when they speak the language, like let's say Filipino Tagalog or Tagalog,
Yeah.
they other people from other provinces, Filipinos from other provinces speak it in a different accent, different tone. So sometimes it conveys a different like message or meaning, something like that.
Yeah. And Daniel's greeting us in his
안녕하세요.
formal Korean.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. Now, here's a question for you from Bama.
Do you like kimchi? For one, I don't like spicy food, but I mean, it's only here that I've started eating kimchi, but back home I haven't. I really don't like kimchi. But it's
Yeah.
healthy. It's healthy though.
Yeah. Fermented cabbage. And okay, now Bama's getting more specific with the question. What do you think about the K-pop BTS?
It's kind of ironic because I have a Korean husband, right? But I am not into that Korean, like Hallyu. They call it like Hallyu, like Korean wave.
Yeah. Hallelujah.
I watch Korean dramas from time to time. I listen to their music, but I'm not like a diehard fan, something like that.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's okay. K-pop is okay.
Yeah. So basically, I don't know if you heard this term, Korea boo.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that. The Korea boo.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Daniel. Yeah. He's Chinese Filipino American.
Ah, okay.
So,
But was he born in the Philippines or like maybe he was born in the US already? Or
no, I think he was born in the US. Just like myself, so we're both Asian Americans.
Oh, okay, all right.
So let's see. Oh, this is Thomas. Yeah, he's in Daejeon, so he's one of my subs that's taking a 3-month vacation here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I couldn't go meet him because I'm doing this live stream with you. So he came back. So good. You could tell me about that language exchange later, Thomas. Okay, and yeah,
Those.
yeah, yeah. Virtual hug. Oh, okay. Maybe you can answer this question. If you can, I'll answer it. What does Korea boo mean?
Actually, I'm not. I've heard of that term, but I'm not really familiar. I mean, I don't think I would be able to explain that well. So I think you're in the best position to explain that, King.
Okay. Yeah. So Bama, it is someone that is so like extremely obsessed with Korea. They just think about Korea 24/7.
Is it like they want to look like a Korean as well? Like the fashion, the makeup and stuff, right?
Yeah, that's even in that definition.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Hey, Christine, welcome. I have to ask it, so I think this is for you. So, did you watch 90 Day Fiance, and how do you feel about it? Like people like Rose, especially. Did you see Nikki on the show years ago?
That's kind of an
Oh,
interesting question. Yeah, I do watch 90 Day Fiance, right? And I
yeah,
think I'm not sure how many seasons they have already, but I think they featured like Filipinas, like 5 Filipinas in total. I'm not really sure.
yeah,
What was your question about Rose?
yeah. About Rose or Nikki, because there
Nikki
was a
Nikki was the 18-year-old from Cebu, like from the first
yes,
season.
yes, and her husband was 59 years
years
old.
old. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I think like the issue there was that the husband is kind of controlling of
Yeah,
Nikki, and knowing that
yeah,
Nikki, I think that the American's daughter is actually older than Nikki, something like that,
yeah.
right? So that's
Correct.
why I feel. Um, for one, it's their lives. I mean, it's. I mean, I don't. I always tell this to everybody, even in here in Korea, like, um sometimes it's kind of funny. People would ask you like if they know that your husband is Korean, like how old is your husband, something like that. I don't know, in the Korean culture, like the age, they would always ask for the age and stuff. And I'm not sure if because they're used to like have like Filipinas and foreigners having like big age gaps in general. I'm not really
Yeah,
sure. I'm not really
yeah,
sure. I know, so even I have a Filipino friend. His husband is like 12 years older than him. Her husband is Filipino. So I
yeah,
mean, in terms of age gap, it doesn't really, like they just say age is but a number, right? It's just a number.
yeah,
But I think the dynamics in the 90 Day Fiance is kind of different, you know? Like, of course, it's a scripted show.
yeah,
They only show like 5-10 minutes of their lives. But I'm glad for Rose, right? I mean, I think Rose is from Caloocan. I mean, part of
yes,
Manila. So I'm
right.
glad. I was happy for Rose that she was able to break away from, who is that guy? The
No Neck Ed.
there Ed, yeah. So I was happy that, because like
He's,
people were accusing her that she's only in it for the money. But I think it's the other way around. No Neck Ed was there for the attention, something like
yeah.
that. He loves the limelight, something like that. So I was happy, but and I'm happy with Rose. I think she has her YouTube channel, and it exploded with all the views and the views and the subscribers. So I'm happy for her.
Yeah, she's now doing much better than Ed is.
Yeah. So it's really hard to, how do I say it? Like you cannot really judge their relationships, right? As long as
Yeah,
they love each other, they're not stepping onto other people's lives. Who am I to judge? But the
yeah,
thing is, sometimes they, like they take advantage of the show, or the older man takes advantage of the younger woman, stuff like that.
yeah,
So REO brothers in the Philippines are better than BTS. Who is REO?
yeah. I was thinking that first REO Speedwagon from the '80s group, but I don't know, Scott, if you're talking about something else.
REO, maybe that is like a singing group. Let me check. I'm not really
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
REO. REO brothers. REO.
yeah,
Yeah. When I type REO, the first word was like Speedwagon. That's the one that you said.
yeah.
Oh, it's
Because
a rock band.
okay.
That is a rock band. Okay, from 2009. I'm sorry, I haven't heard of them, but it's a Filipino rock band.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you for mentioning them.
yeah, yeah. And Nitbon has a good question here. Why did you move from Korea from Manila?
Because my husband is Korean. Is that a safe answer? No, no, no. Like, because my husband and I had been a long distance relationship for so long, for 7 years. That is the video that King is talking about, or was talking about a while ago. How I met my husband. And anyway, we've been on a long distance relationship for like 7 years, and one has to decide who will move, right? So he has a good job here. I also had a good job back in the Philippines, but we always have this thinking that Filipinos are can adapt to any environment, to any culture.
Mhm.
So I think it's easier for us, especially for women, to adapt in general than men.
Yeah,
So that I hope that answers your question.
yeah. When I heard 7 years, I went,
Yeah,
That is
I get that a lot. I get that a lot. Like, what? 7 years? Are you guys crazy?
Yeah. So, yeah, and yeah,
Okay, Daniel T.
same thing. Non-Korean person who's obsessed with. Yeah. So
Mm.
that's the part I forgot to mention. The non.
Okay, non-South Korean. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
usually a foreigner that is not Korean that does
Uh-huh.
it. Okay.
Hey,
Thomas.
everyone. Thomas is single. Who is Thomas?
He's the one here in Daejeon.
Thomas Crawley.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Thomas is single. Know any single ladies for him? Unfortunately, I don't know anyone who is single right now. Most of my friends are married. I think because we're already at the age of that we should be married.
Yeah.
So
So,
I'm sorry, but if I meet someone who's also interested in like dating or meeting guys, I would gladly tell King, and probably King would tell Thomas.
yeah. So, yeah, there you go. Okay. Oh, that
For
sounds
you
like
would
a
tell him.
Japanese otaku. Okay. So, let's see, you can give clarification. And Christine says she's worried about Nikki because he doesn't let her on social media. And her daughter doesn't talk to her or father anymore.
Well, I think like this show, the 90 Day Fiancé, like they have like a spin-off show, right? The 90 Day Fiancé, the other way around.
Yeah, the other
Like,
way, like, you know, the Korean one,
yeah,
Devin
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
June.
So I'm not really, or like they have another spin-off, like 90 Days after, like they feature the past couples. What is
Yeah.
this that one?
Tell all.
No, no, not the tell all. Like they have another spin-off where they feature
Oh,
the other
okay. You
happily
talk.
ever after, like the 90 days happily ever after. Like they
Yeah,
end
there's like
up,
seven of them.
yeah, they feature the other couples, and I'm not really sure if maybe Nikki is not one of them, like the couple, and I also don't know if they're still together. If Nikki
Yeah,
and the guy is still together.
yeah. I heard they were, but I don't know. That was like a year ago.
Okay,
I
because
saw a
like, she's
YouTube video.
18. She's
Yeah,
18. A lot of things can happen, and if she's still in the U.S. at age 18, my gosh, a
yeah,
lot of opportunities, a lot of people to meet. So
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I'm not hoping that they would go on their separate ways, but I wouldn't be surprised if in the future they would.
yeah. So time will tell.
It's too scary for me.
Yeah, it's scary. And Daniel, he's always has some insight. Age gap
Uh-huh.
has to be considered based on life experiences, socioculture, and customs. So, and I had Daniel as a guest a couple of times on this show too.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah. Okay, so she says, not all scripted. I think when it first started, it was a little bit more real. Everyone loves Rose in the US. I think not so much Ed.
Okay. All right, because like the idea of having a reality shows, right? It's
Yeah,
always scripted. I
yeah,
mean, they put their own flavor into it, something like
yeah.
that. But the thing is, like, you're gonna squeeze all of their lives in like a 30-minute or 1 hour program, and they want to create drama because it wouldn't be interesting without the drama, right?
Yeah. I think in the case of Ed and Rose, that didn't even need to be scripted.
Yeah, I
Just
think that is all natural. That is like 100% Rose, 100% Ed. But I think in their case, like Ed was more for it for like the attention.
yeah,
For he wanted to be famous, something like that.
yeah. Oh, Ed. Yep. Age is a number only in the Philippines.
I don't think so. Age is just a number. Age is just a number, but only in the Philippines.
Well, I would add maybe other countries to that.
Yeah. Because other countries, age is just a number, but only in the Philippines. Like I see I don't know, like a lot of couples, I don't know. But I think not only in the Philippines.
Yeah. Well, a lot in Southeast Asia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I know. Yep. Good vibes. Everyone's giving their. Oh, let's see. Bam has a question.
What do you think of large age gap romances in the Philippines? Mm, I'm not really sure if it's widely accepted. There are some couples, let's say showbiz couples, actors and actresses. who are in this large age gap romances. Personally, I only have one friend whose husband is like 12 years older than her, but they have been a couple for I think like 5 years or so before they got married.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in the Philippines, my answer is I'm not really sure if it's widely accepted, if or like
Yeah.
people are warming up to the idea. But I think now, like the generation now, they're becoming more open-minded, so they don't really care about the age gap. But like what Nippan said, sometimes it also depends on the social cultural background, the life experiences and stuff. But for me, I don't really judge people if they have like their age gap, the age gap between them is really big or they're really
Yeah.
large. It's their lives.
Yeah. And of course, here in Korea,
Yeah.
I don't notice a lot of like ajishis with young Filipinas here. I don't see that a lot. I
Oh,
see I see more younger couples like
really?
your.
I think it's the other way around.
Uh, I
Maybe
don't know.
probably in your area, but in my area as well. I mean, I'm not really sure, but because they have this stigma. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't want to like talk to like on behalf of like Filipinos and stuff,
Yeah.
but that's why I told you. That's why they always ask, "How old is your husband?" or like, "How did you meet?" Stuff like that. I'm not really sure if they're used to the setup where in Korean older Korean men are married to Filipino women. Well, I know
Yeah.
a lot. I have some of my friends who are also like young Filipinas, and their husbands are not old. Like all of us are like millennials. But
Yeah.
I know a lot as well who are married to older Koreans, let's say 10
Mm,
years. I mean,
okay, 10 years.
like because for me it's kind of different when you tell like how old are you? You're 25 and your husband is like 40 or 50. But the ball game changes when you, for example, you're 30 and then your husband is 40. I don't know. That's why it really depends. Because like they feel like the older you are, the more mature you are, which doesn't really follow, right? Because
Yeah.
men get older, but not all of them are mature.
Yeah. Because the way I look at Korean society, like 40-year-old ajishi with a young Filipino,
Yeah.
okay, that age gap's a little frowned upon. But from a Western perspective,
Yeah.
that's like nothing to us.
Ah, okay. So
So,
what would be like the standard, if ever?
yeah. Ooh, I'm starting to lose my place here. There's so many comments.
The,
Let's
how come
see.
I cannot see the comments?
Oh, I'll put them up. Let's see. Okay.
Sorry. I'm just
Yeah.
excited with the comments and stuff.
Yeah. So, okay. And Nitbomb wants to know, do you have a channel?
I do have a channel. Thank you for asking. So it's IRona TV. IRONA space TV. So actually IRona means wake up in Korean or to stand up.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is my channel.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. So she has a channel, and maybe after the stream, I'll post a link too, so you
Okay.
guys can click on it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Daniel has a point here.
Not always true. Okay. What was it? What's his point?
Because the point is that Filipino men can also adapt. I've seen a lot in many countries, especially the Middle East.
Yeah, I do. I mean, of course, it depends on the person. I'm not trying to argue with you. Like, I'm not generalizing that. I
Yeah.
mean, like women, but I think in general, it's just how do I say? I cannot really qualify. How do I say? I cannot describe, but I think it's easier for women in adapting based on experience and based on my friends' experience.
Yeah.
Like especially with jobs. I don't know. But I don't want to argue with you. Filipino men, not only Filipino men, let's just say men in general, they can also adapt. It's just that based from my experiences.
Yeah.
Especially Middle Eastern countries, probably you're talking about like professionals in those countries, like more of yeah, you're talking more of like the professional aspect to it. But I mean,
Yeah.
like leaving all behind. Like for example, I left like women who, let's say women who are married to foreigners, let's just say for I mean, or even to like for example, if their husbands are working abroad, they are ready to live their lives behind in their countries. Let's say in the Philippines, it's in Korea, it's kind of easier for them.
Yeah.
I don't know, just based on my experiences. So
Okay. So, Yep. Okay. Oh, Tom is talking about rock and roll groups in the 80s and 90s.
Okay, so don't ask me this one. This one is my channel.
Okay, so there you go. It's right there. So,
It's
and
actually,
there's a picture of her and her husband right there.
yeah, so you wouldn't be lost.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
Clegg is a Korean boo. I didn't know about it. Well, I
Yeah.
don't know if she and her husband met, I think, in a dating app or like
Yeah.
a.
Tinder.
Oh, okay. But I was surprised. I was surprised with the Korean guy. Like
Yeah.
he was willing. I mean, his English. I don't know. They use translators and stuff. I'm
Oh,
not really
yeah.
sure about Deegan Clegg as being Korea boo though. I mean, I'm not updated with the.
Yeah. Well, she just, I think now they broke up. She's, I think, dating another Korean guy right now, is what I've heard, but
Oh,
I could be wrong.
are they separated or?
That's what I heard, but I'm not sure yet because I haven't been able to see everything yet.
Okay, all right.
So when season two ends, I might probably do another live stream special for the sub.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I do. It's about nature and a few book reviews. So that's what Bama was talking about. Yeah, her name's Devin.
Devin, yes.
And, and Roy Jones, do you miss Manila?
I do. I do. I miss Manila. I miss the food. I miss my family because because of Corona we cannot really travel. There are like restrictions. The
Yeah.
Korean government is actually the restriction is pretty. It's I mean we cannot travel to our countries just for the sake of traveling. Like we have to have a justifiable reason for us to be able to travel there. Like for example, a death of a family member. But if just for the reason or for the sake of visiting our country, we couldn't do that. So I miss my family because usually I visit Manila like 3 or 4 times a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah. So when you fly, do you fly into Manila Airport? Because I don't know if you could fly into Clark yet from Korea.
Yes, you can. You can.
Okay.
But yeah, I fly because the airport is actually just 15 minutes from my house if there's no traffic. From
Okay.
the city where I live in. The city in Manila where I live in is just like 15 minutes away from the airport.
Okay. So that's that's pretty cool. And Thomas,
There,
remember?
it's really okay. I'm waiting until I get to the PH. In Korea, I'm the white crayon.
Yeah, he is the white crayon. Okay, and she says happily ever
Yeah,
after.
that one. Happily ever after. So they get to feature other
Yeah,
couples from the past seasons.
yeah, to see how they're doing. So okay, so now I remember. Well, I was a Korea boo before I even learned to read Hunger characters.
Reading Hangul characters, it doesn't make you like a Korean boo right away. It's like more
Yeah,
extreme.
yeah,
Because you're interested in learning Korean, so that's why probably you're able to read and study the language. But being a Korean boy is like a whole new level. It's a whole different level.
yeah, yeah. Okay, Mark sued the network and lost. People on Reddit say they see her in her hometown. She just looks down at the floor. Okay, hopefully he at least and her still talk to her family.
That's so sad. Like
Yeah,
she lost her confidence, like right? Because if you just
yeah,
look down at the floor or something like that, it means like you just lost your confidence and stuff.
yeah. Wow. So that is nuts. Edited,
Edited, yes,
yes,
big time.
big time in that one. Okay,
I
here
love
we
ruining
go.
my garden. Lots of thorns and buds about Ed. Well, I have to do background check before I make a cameo appearance and stop a sense of reality into him.
He wants to even do it to Jihoon too.
But it's kind of he puts. I mean, I know Avril Lavigne. Like she put mayo on her hair, right, to make it shiny, but not like Ed. The quantity of mayo that Ed puts on his hair is like
I know. I was like thrown off too. Like, wow.
it has been a part of his routine to put mayo on his hair.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of.
That kind of threw me for a loop.
Why do Filipinos think they're old at 3. What does that mean?
I mean 30.
30. I was like 3. Is that a thing? Like 3? I don't know. For one, when I reached the age 30, I was like, oh my gosh, I hope I could go back to like when I was 20 and stuff. Because like, when you reach the age of 30, then you're starting to think, oh my gosh, after 10 years, I'll be in my 40s and then I'll be in my 50s, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I don't know if it's a Filipino thing that they feel old at age 30. Probably because, like a lot of younger kids, I mean, like teenagers nowadays, they get to do a lot of things that we were not able to do before.
Yeah.
So we feel like 30 when you're 30, like even in Korea, right? When you go to clubs and you're like 30 years old, they look down on you, especially when you go to a young crowd club.
Yeah,
like
they're
that.
like, ande.
It's kind of weird, like, but 30 is still young, yeah. I was like 30, and then suddenly you become 31, 32, 33, and then next thing you know, you'll be 40.
Yeah. Yeah, the clubs. Okay. So Thomas, yeah, he told me about this. He had a 35, 29 girlfriend in the US, both Chinese girls.
Both are Chinese, okay.
Yeah. I could have made a joke, but it might not sound good. So Roy says, say it.
Yeah, it depends on what.
Yeah.
In Korea, young girls see me coming and cross the street. I think in general, like when Koreans, when they see that foreigners are approaching them, they're trying to like walk the other way or trying to change their gaze, something like that. I have experienced that. Like, trying to approach Koreans to ask some questions, even if I'm gonna ask them in Korean.
Yeah.
But they have this thinking like, oh my gosh, she's a foreigner. Maybe she's gonna talk to me in English, something like that.
Yeah.
So like they're going to pretend that they don't see you, or yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Try a little bit.
Yeah. Emma. Yep. And Thomas. Yep. Okay. And Grandma says, I'll still do the same thing. And here's a question, Thomas. Think Sohan is still single?
Sohan is the one from AOA?
I think. I'm trying to remember.
That's why Nitban is proclaiming he right? Nitban he is a Korea boo. Because he's kind of knowledgeable about K-pop.
Yeah. He is, but he's not extreme.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, because I call him and Daniel twin brothers because they're both mid-30s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think they're like one of the younger ones here in my stream.
Yeah, actually, IRona is gising or wake up in Tagalog. That's Tagalog word gising, or it means like stand up. But the funny thing is the name. I mean the meaning behind IRona is my husband's last name is Lee, Lee, and in Korea it's pronounced as E, right?
Yeah.
So, but I cannot really just put EE, which doesn't sound good. So, like, and then my nickname is Rona. So, like, IRona, it just like matched. So, like, I made that as my YouTube channel, IRona. So that's why I always like my intro spiel. I would always like shout, IRona, you guys, wake up, something like that. So like, wake up. Even if I shoot the video at night, I would say that.
Yeah, you don't know.
No, it's kind of like they're like a perfect combo, like Rona, IRona, and there's a Korean word for that. So I think like, okay, I'm gonna use that as my YouTube channel. Actually, my previous YouTube channel's name was Ironically, which is another word. Kind of like Ronica is my real name is Ronica, and then my husband is Lee. So ironically, right? Like ironic. Okay. I think IRona TV sounded better and it resonates more to the audience. So I use the IRona TV.
Yeah. And I think it's really worked.
It's kind of catchy. So it's sort of like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a question here from Bama. He's coming out with all of them.
IRona, how long did it take you to get comfortable living in Korea? Did you have a lot of culture shock? Okay, so going back, as I've told you, my husband and I were in a long distance relationship for 7 years. So in that 7 years, I would make my yearly visits in Korea.
Mm.
So I get to meet the family. I get to like experience Korean culture in terms of food and stuff like that. Korea culture shock. Yeah, when I moved here, you know, like sometimes, I mean, before how they treated foreigners, you know, because Korea is a very homogeneous society, but now they're more open to foreigners. And then it's not really like culture shock. It's more of like a language like barrier. It's not really a culture shock because Koreans are Asians. So, but Filipinos are Asians, right? But it's like because Filipinos are more westernized than Koreans.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of funny they say like Koreans are conservative, but I think they're like conservative on the outside, but they are aggressive in the inside. Something like
Yeah.
that. And like of course there are some like in terms of like their personality, they're kind of different from Filipinos. Like Filipinos are more open. And you know the culture shock would be like the hierarchy thing. Like
Mm.
yeah, King would be very knowledgeable about that. Like, you know, in Korea, you're not technically friends when you're not born in the same year or like you don't have the same age. So in the Philippines, I can call somebody who is 40 years old as my friend. But in Korea, that would never be the case. It's either that person would be like a senior of yours, or let's say an onni, an older sister, or an oppa, an older brother, but you can never really treat that person as your friend. So it's like more of a hierarchy thing in
Yeah.
terms of like friends, which is kind of hard. And also in the workplace, you know, like American setting, you can directly talk to your boss. You can address them by their first name, which is not in the case in Korea. You always
Mm.
have to observe formalities or like you have to observe the formal language in addressing someone, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, I'm a rebel here.
Oh, because you were born and raised. I mean, you were
Yeah.
raised in the U.S., so practically you
Yeah.
don't follow the norms in that sense.
Oh no. No, I'm kind of really against that. Just because you're older than me, you're gonna force me to respect you. That's just hard for me to
Yeah.
fathom. You know.
I mean because of that hierarchy thing, they try to twist some situations, especially in the workplace. You know, like they try to apply it in all situations, in all aspects, which can never be the case. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And for example, I was friends with a young Korean guy because I'm an ajishi here, and
mhm,
to all my gatherings, I took him to the foreigners. There was no problem.
mhm.
Then he goes, King, come to my gathering. I'm like, cool. Where do you want me to go? What time do you need? He goes, I'm like, what? Oh, my friend goes, he wants to know who your family name is, how old are you, what do you do,
What
what
do you
kind of tree?
do?
And
Yeah,
I'm just like, no, no. They're gonna either let me come talk to me. I can speak Korean, but I say,
yeah,
no, forget it, not coming.
yeah. It's
So,
kind of hard.
yeah. Okay.
And in America, old women would ask me about my net worth first. So
Yeah.
they do.
Yes and no. It's both. Yeah. And well, we have got to go to where we wanted. It's all about supply and demand. So yeah, so some of my guys want to go to Philippines. Part of the reason is, they want to maybe find a new life and
Mhm.
maybe find a wife over there. It depends what everyone wants.
Actually, there is well, to each his own, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Nitban. So
Yeah.
to each his
Thanks,
own, like
Nippon.
because sometimes they have this stigma, like I don't want to say okay. Let's just put it out there. Old white men would
Hmm.
retire in Southeast Asian countries and find like a let's say a younger bride. Let's say so that's why they have this stigma of white men doing that one. Um, but I cannot really judge the situation. That's what I've been always saying. I cannot really judge the situation. it
Yeah.
it's it's how they handle the relationship. I mean, I don't know their motive for marrying a younger, like way younger women.
Yeah.
Is it because for childbearing, like let's just be
Yeah.
honest, like for childbearing, like if they get an older woman, it will be hard for women to get pregnant if that is one of
Yeah.
their purposes,
Yeah.
to marrying a younger women to be able to like bear children and stuff. But in terms of maturity, like other people would not really go for, let's say, like 20 years younger than you because you're not on the same wavelength in terms of maturity, something like that. So it really it really depends on your purpose on marrying someone who is younger than you, way younger than you, or way older than you, you know? Because it could be the other way around. Like for me, if I there are some people who would like to marry 20 years old. I mean, there are some people who prefer 20 years older, like men who are older. You know, it really depends.
Yeah, to us each his own, but yeah, so sometimes even from the West, they just prefer to go to Southeast Asia, you know. So whatever, makes them happy.
Thank you, Obama.
Yeah. So there you go. So
you get more.
Yeah.
Before the year ends.
Yeah. And are you planning a live stream anytime soon again?
I'm not really sure. Actually, that's also my husband's question. I mean, he's been asking me. It's not a regular thing. Probably I'm gonna explore the Kumu that I told you, but that's more for the Filipino community. But I'm not really sure. Yeah. So because like editing videos is already time consuming. So
yeah. So there you go. And here, look at that. When COVID situation is relaxed, I'll make a cameo appearance in season 3.
Season 3 of what?
I think it for Devin and Jihoon.
Okay.
I think that's what Daniel meant. And Nippon, this is a common question for anybody in the Philippines.
Did you have balut? What do you mean? Have I ever eaten a balut?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's no.
Yeah.
I've eaten penoy, which I mean it doesn't have the live duck, like the what do you call that? The unborn duck, something like that.
Yeah.
But balut, no. Don't expect every Filipino would have the experience of eating balut.
Yeah. Yeah. My experience is I ate it in America.
Where did you get it?
Because we haven't. Well, they have like it at the ranch market because it's we have a lot of Asian. Yeah, there's a lot of Asian American communities.
Is balut like a Filipino? I mean, is it unique to the Filipino culture or stuff? I don't think so, right? Other Asian countries also eat balut.
Well, it's mostly, but because I knew Filipino Americans back then, so I went to a gathering. They had it, so
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So balut is like basically like an unborn duck fetus. What do you call that? Unborn duck?
Yeah.
Wait. We have this term. You put the duck like in okay. I'm just gonna search about it. So how can I describe it better?
Yeah, we just know it's an egg.
Street food. It's a balot street food, a fertilized developing egg embryo that is spoiled.
Yeah.
Stuff like But no, I don't eat that.
Yeah, it's good to have some vinegar with it.
The funny thing was my brother challenged my husband. So my husband was my boyfriend back then. So my brother was like, okay, if you really love my sister, you're going to eat balut.
Yeah.
And it's my husband's first time to eat balut. Of course, he wants to prove his love for me. And then, the funny thing was he partnered balut with Mang Tomas, which is a lechon sauce, like a brown sweet sauce.
Oh.
Probably just to mask the flavor, the taste of balut. Like he doesn't know that you have to eat with vinegar. I mean, I didn't recommend that he eats it with vinegar and stuff.
Yeah.
But he successfully did it. So my brother was like, "Oh, okay, you really love my sister. Okay, you passed the test." Maybe for Filipinos, that's one test that you need to overcome when you want to marry a Filipino woman is like eating balut.
Yeah.
Okay, Timmy says, Timmy, are you watching? Hey, maybe I have a friend there. Timmy's watching. It's already fertilized. I think it's kind of funny. My friend suddenly messaged me, DM me on my Instagram, and then she's like, it's already, balut is duck embryo. It's already fertilized. Hi, Timmy, if you're watching.
Yeah. So they're watching from your other.
Watching.
Yeah. And Bama has a question.
Yeah.
do you like to read, and any book recommendations?
I think I'm not the best person to ask that because I also asked my cousin in Australia like what kind of what book she would be able to recommend. But my cousin, because I like crime novels, like detective stuff
Oh,
like that, even for shows. So my cousin recommended Silent Patient. I haven't checked up on it yet. The last book that I've read was not how the subtle art of not giving a fuck. Some that one,
oh,
yeah. And then before that, I read the book Crazy Rich Asian.
Asians, yeah,
Yeah, the three books. Yeah, that one.
yeah. Actually, I had that book. I just gave it to my buddy.
Ah, all right. The orange one, the subtle art of not.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
if I get it back from him, and if I ever come up that way, maybe I'll drop it off to you.
because I have that book. I have that book.
Oh, you have it. Okay.
Yeah, but I think it has like the newer version, right? Like the color green.
Well, there's a blue one.
Uh-huh.
Everything is F, and then the subtle art of not giving an F is the orange one.
Ah, okay, all right, okay. So
Eh,
probably
eh,
the author is kind of obsessed with
mm,
the idea of not giving an F.
yeah, and Mark, yeah, the actor. I think the author is Mark Manson, and I bought that at fully booked at Ayala Mod IT Park.
I bought that book here.
Oh,
Actually,
okay.
20,001. I just saw the price. It's 20,001. Kind of expensive.
Whoa.
It's 20,001, or maybe it's like probably it's discounted when I paid for it, but the tag says 20,001. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, because
books
I
in
think
Korea tend to be more expensive, right?
yes, because in the Philippines I paid about 600 pesos.
But sometimes they have like a 300 to 400, like the
Yeah,
paperback, the soft paperback version. The
yeah.
last, the other books that I've read was like the 5 person you will by Moss, the 5 persons you will meet in heaven. Yeah, that's the other.
Okay. Yeah. So
If
the,
Ed wants attention, I'll give him one, a Jack Daniel, some lime, and a Jack slap.
Daniel, why would someone put mayonnaise on
Tell
there?
me about it. Why would someone put? I know, but I know that is like a beauty hack because I know Avril Lavigne used to do that, but not on a regular basis like Ed. It tends
Yeah.
to make your hair softer and shinier.
Ah, okay. So that's the hack. BRB. So
Be right back.
yeah,
Like the
be right.
millennials and Ed with
Yeah,
Abraham. But I think the robe will be too long for Ed.
yeah, yeah. I see two up. Okay, and so since you've been to the U.S., what did you think of the U.S. when you went there?
Okay, when I first visited there, I was only 11 years old. So my experiences back then was kind of different from the time that I last visited. So the last time that I visited the US was in 2017.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, yeah. So the first time that I visited I visited the US way back in 1997. There I had a culture shock.
Oh, what was
Yeah,
the
like,
culture shock?
because like Filipinos, back then Filipinos are kind of conservative, right?
Yeah.
And we were in an amusement park in Knott's Berry Farm.
Oh, yeah.
And like I don't know, we were lining up for this. I'm not sure, like a stall or something. We were buying hot dogs and stuff, and like at another store, there was like a couple kissing. Like they're kissing, like as an 11-year-old kid, I would like what? Why would I see that? Like just they were just making out
Yeah.
there. So it's kind of like a culture shock for me back then, and sometimes like back then, like how my cousins were like answering back. Their parents and stuff. Like we don't do
Yeah.
that in the Philippines, but I think I don't have actually like a bigger perspective of the US that time because
Yeah.
I went there for fun. Like I want to go
Yeah.
to Disneyland right that. But in 2017 when I went in 2017, like because I have gone to the West Coast only once. I always visit the East Coast because my family is based in New York and New Jersey. So anyway, when I rode the New York subway for the
Okay.
second time, because the first time was in 1997, and then I went to New York. I went back to the US around 2004, but I think I didn't get to visit New York. I didn't get to ride the subway, the metro. So
Yeah.
I got to ride it like 2017. I was like, oh my god, like when you're able to ride the subways of Seoul. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
just the subway, the Korean subway in general. Like, oh
Right.
my God, it's so different. I would always tell my husband, because he hasn't been in the US. My husband hasn't visited the US. So he's like, I told him, if ever we move to New York, you might get some culture shock in the subway.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
the big rats running around in the on the tracks. You wouldn't see
Yeah.
that in the Korean subway, right?
Oh no.
Even like how they would always compare the Korean and Japanese subway with like the US subways and stuff.
Yeah.
So culture shock. People are more open, of course, in the US. You know, in the US, like when you get your order, when you get to order your food, like, do you want something with that, honey? Something like that. Like they would use these terms of endearment. Where in Korea, you will never expect that. You don't expect like servers, staff to be more open. Like, you
Yeah.
know, there's this sense of respect that you cannot be too overly friendly. Something like that. So that's what I like about the US. You know, like I was in a grocery in New Jersey, and so like this girl walked like in front of me, and then she was like, I like your pants. Something like that. You get like compliments, random compliments. Where in Korea, they would see that as like not an insult, but something rude, right? If you just give a random compliment.
Yeah.
So that's what I love. I like
Yeah.
about the US.
Yeah.
But safety wise, of course, it's still incomparable to Korea.
Yes,
I
indeed.
mean, I would. I mean, in Korea, you just wear your backpacks. You like use your cell phone. You bring out all these things. Like you wouldn't really be worried. Like you will get somebody will steal your stuff and like that you'll get robbed. But in the US, I'm not trying to generalize. You know, like how media portrays the US, but based on experience, it's just that I always have to be careful. Like I always have to worry. I mean, in Korea as well, but in the US, it's like a different ball game. Like you always have to worry about your safety, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yep. Keep our head on a swivel.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, like in the Philippines, you know, like you cannot
Yeah.
really wear your backpacks as backpacks in the Philippines. They are like front bags, like
Yeah.
you know. So I really love like traveling to Japan and Korea because you can really use your backpacks as backpacks. That's their
Yeah.
purpose.
Yeah. Actually, I have a security backpack.
Oh, do you have one of those?
You can't cut through it. You can't
Mm.
even cut. So I could wear in the back. They can't steal anything.
I saw an advertisement of that, like
Yeah.
that kind of bag.
Yeah. The one I recommend is Locktoe.
Is that a brand?
Yes, it's the brand
Okay.
Locktoe. So the test they do is they take like a hammer throw and they'll throw it at the back and it doesn't even tear through.
But it's not fireproof, right?
Fireproof? I don't think
That's just a
anything's
joke. I mean, that's just a joke. Nobody will like, yeah,
nothing's
nobody will like
fireproof.
start a fire on your bag if he or she wants to rob you.
Yeah. But if someone's motivated, they'll take it.
Yeah.
He says to keep it healthy because he dies from it because of the gray, which dries out. Okay. It helps it stay healthy.
So my
Okay.
friend said, yeah, she's watching to support me. You know, like some of my friends and my subscribers, they're like just silent viewers.
Yeah.
But
So,
thank you.
yeah. Thank
Shout
you for
out
all
to you.
coming. Yeah. And I don't know. In China, they talk. Thomas talks about women over 30 who's unattached, childless. It's called leftover women.
Yeah, I've watched that documentary. Like, you know, in parks, they would have the photos of their daughters. They
Yeah.
would want to like to have a what do you call this? They're trying to
Find them a
sell
husband.
themselves. How do you say that one? In Tagalog, we have this term. Like, what is that term? Not barter. Like they're just photos and their ages, their accomplishments, and hopefully they want someone to be matched with their daughter
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Because I think you have to be probably the maximum age would be 28 to get married. Like once you reach 30, that is like a red flag for
Yeah.
men. I mean, for Chinese women, something like that. So I think they marry between the age of 24 to let's say 27.
Yeah. So critical years, and then
Yeah.
yeah.
Conditioner
So,
smells a lot nicer and can also be but I
yeah.
think like maybe mayonnaise has a beauty like maybe mayonnaise has a benefit that we all don't know about.
Yeah. Feels like I was 30 yesterday. Time
I
flies.
agree.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
There
Philippines
was
thing.
there was news about this.
I think about allowing fiance. What is
Yeah.
that? Fiance to travel. What is that?
Like if say a guy or female is engaged to get married to a Filipino,
Mm-hmm.
they'll be allowed to come. But I think there's a lot of different sorry about that. A lot of
What do you
different
mean by that? I mean they're allowed to go to the Philippines.
there's talk about it.
So about the visa thing.
Yeah, but
Uh,
I don't
But
know
the
how
other
that's
way
gonna
around,
work.
like for foreigners to get the visa, not the Filipinos to get the
Yeah.
visa.
No, it's for the
Ah, okay, all
foreigners
right, okay, okay.
engaged to get married to a Filipino or Filipina.
And then they're gonna get married in the Philippines.
Yeah, that's
Ah, okay, all right. I
yeah,
haven't heard of this
yeah,
news area.
yeah. I saw an article, but it doesn't. It's not clear.
You know, in the Philippines, it's kind of hard to talk about the visas and stuff,
Yeah,
like, like the immigration and stuff, because it's a kind of complicated.
yeah. It's extremely yeah. And Daniel is learning Hangul right now. Can be a challenge, but once you start speaking writing, they will warm to you
I
easily.
agree. I agree. Actually, if you love the language, it would be easy for you to learn it.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a simple writing system too
Yeah,
by King Sejong. So
exactly.
wow, wow, we still got a lot of comments.
I'm
And here's
talking to a Korean
Gamma.
man named Shock. What are the chances? Oh, the Shock is finding Irishman. Because you know, like I don't know if you know Bama in Korea. I mean, their surnames. They don't have like unique surnames. They have like common surnames, and they only have like 100 surnames. Like they Korean men. If I understand I mean your. It's not sarcastic, but if I would understand your comment, like Korea's, their surnames would just range from Song, Park, Lee, Choi or Choi, Sun,
Yeah,
Yoon, right? Not like the US, not like the Philippines. Like we can think of all the surnames in the world.
yeah.
So
Wow. Huh. And Nip Bomb wants to know how long you've been in Korea.
okay, I've been in Korea for almost 4 years now.
Okay. Wow. So almost the same amount of time I've been there with you
Ah,
because
okay.
I'm now 5 years on and off. Yep. And Daniel's,
Hegemony?
yeah,
Social
harm
structure Philippines model.
parties.
I think they got that from the Chinese, right? The filial piety thing, they got that from the
Yeah,
Chinese. A lot of
yeah,
Korean culture, I mean, even the Korean language, Hangul is 70% from Chinese.
yeah. Because then you got the original Hanja.
The Hanja, exactly that one, the Hanja. It's based from there, yeah. Good thing
Yeah,
we have King here
yeah,
to expound on some matters.
yeah. Oh, and look, here's my buddy stuck in Florida.
Hi. Are you still stuck in Florida?
Yeah, yeah. We were talking about Florida stuck. So we, so we were, yeah. Okay, and IAT is studying lifting travel restrictions.
Okay. I
Yeah,
think I've heard about that. The IETF study and lifting of travel restrictions on
yeah,
foreigners with Pinay fiancés. Because before they were just trying to consider if they have foreigner husbands, just
yeah,
husbands, foreigner husbands or foreigner wives. But
yeah,
now what George is trying to say is they're trying to ease it up to fiancés.
yeah.
Okay.
So
I'm
that'll
not
be
talking about
interesting.
that one.
Yeah,
Hi,
yeah,
Ronica. I'm
yeah,
Ronica.
yeah.
Fluoride.
And,
Do I say Florida in the house? Because you know Florida,
yeah, the
the
rapper.
singer,
Yeah,
the rapper, or do I say Florida in the house?
yeah. Your choice.
Well, I can come to almost end of the year, so I can eat tteokbokki for the win.
Yeah,
But I don't eat the spicy variant though. I don't like. You know the thing is like there is this good tteokbokki restaurant just on the first floor of the where I teach. I mean the building where I teach, but
yeah,
they closed. I don't know because of Corona. They're just trying to take a rest or something.
yeah,
But I like tteokbokki as long as it's not that spicy.
yeah. Yep, I stopped in too.
Oh yeah, there's a single women left in Alabama. Sorry, but how old is Go Bama?
No, he's telling me he's somewhat middle aged, but he
What is
never.
middle age? Maybe the description of
It
middle
could
age
be
nowadays.
it. It could be like up in the 40s.
Still young.
Yeah. So 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 he's up there. Yeah, and I don't have a problem with large age gaps. I research it's common in Hollywood and rock music. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. And Mick Jagger, Billy Joel seems to be okay. I think.
So that means, Mama, you're not in a rush. Take your time. Take your time.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
just don't know if you have to be a rock star, rock star
Yeah.
to be successful in
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Oh, Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones. Yeah, I remember that when they.
Even wait, who is this actor from the movie Wolverine? I forgot the name.
Hugh Jackman.
I don't. I'm not really sure if it qualifies Hugh Jackman as his wife. Do they have a big age gap?
I don't know if they did.
Well, anyway, maybe no, maybe not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe.
Speaking of.
I heard, I don't know, like probably the viewers out there, probably they heard of Emily in Paris, which is a new Netflix series.
Oh,
And
okay.
it was featured there that French men love older women.
Mm.
I remember somebody commented, who's that who commented that age is just a number, something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Oh,
so because like the president of France, right?
yeah.
He married his school teacher.
That's right. Yeah.
No, something like that. So I'm not really sure I'm not very well versed with the French culture, but it was just featured in that series. Like French men like their mistresses, like older women for their mistresses or for their wives, something like that.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, because
You're
they
young, makes you feel young. Makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah. So they do
Y'all about supply and demand.
supply and demand. So right. Yep. And everyone's saying hi. Yep.
Things that men have to do to woo their women. It can also be the other way around. Things that women have to do to woo their men. So it could be the other way around as well.
Yeah. Oh, okay. The silent patient is the two.
I specifically asked my cousin about that because I love like psychological thrillers and like shows.
Yeah.
So she told me you might love this book.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Looks good. You'll give it a read. Okay. So everyone's giving greetings. Oh, here's my buddy Todd. He is he lives here in Daejeon. He's a friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you compare entering and exiting behavior?
What is that?
Okay, so let's see, hopefully you can clarify. What is the brand name again? Is he talking are you talking about the bag or the book? If it's the bag, Thomas has answered your question, the lock tote.
Oh, okay.
But if it's the book, it was answered earlier. So let's see. Knitbomb, U.S. older servers treat you really good. It reminds me of that one older woman at gas station once told me that I had the longest eyelashes she has ever seen. That was super weird. Wow. Okay, I like me some leftovers. Oh, okay. Here's a question from Todd.
It's kind of a hard question. From a practical standpoint, what would be a practical improvement you suggest for Korea?
Yeah. And he's stating it's a Subway reference.
But on what aspect? Like, what practical improvement?
Like, for example, for something I can give an example is maybe spatial awareness, or when I'm at the grocery store, they don't need to lean on me and be in a hurry. Something like that.
Practical improvement? I don't know if it's a practical improvement thing. Probably not being too obsessed with money. I mean, like in terms of privacy, it's like kind of open for them to just ask how much do you earn, or stuff
Yeah.
like that, which could be like a very private matter for a lot of people who wouldn't want to discuss about their earnings like that.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of ironic how Koreans tend to be very private, especially like when in videos, right? You have to blur out their faces and stuff
Yeah.
because they value their privacy so much. But in terms of that, like other aspects, they are very intrusive. Like they want to know the smallest details.
Yeah. And I'm like, and the crazy thing is, I get a lot of hate here for it. I do not tell any native Koreans my age
Ah.
on purpose because I don't
So
care if
how do
you're
you answer them? Like if they ask you how old are you?
I just go over military age. That means that they should have a clue.
Yeah, because you know that like at what age do you have to enter the military, right? Or you have
Yeah.
to finish military. Okay.
Yeah. Or sometimes I say, go watch my YouTube channel and find out.
Or like if you have an 18 facts about like you have like a facts about me video, then you would probably know. Or like a birthday video, you would probably know how old am I.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I do that because
How old I am.
because I don't want, especially the younger Korean guys, I don't want them acting weird to me. That's why. That's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
You're my hang name now, and then take me out and pay for everything. I'm like, no. I'm sorry, I don't do that. Okay, so he's a millennial. Okay, so Bama's probably young.
Perhaps that might not be true.
So that was in reference to Subway.
Probably for the subway behavior thing. I hope that they would let the others exit for. That's what he was trying to. That's the thing that he's pertaining to.
Yeah.
I hope they would let the others exit first, exit the train first before they
Yeah.
enter. But I don't think you can actually expect the ajushis and the ajumas, like the older Korean men and
Nope.
women, to follow that that behavior or
Yeah.
that practice.
Yeah. Yeah, because when I went to Thailand, people were good about getting out of the way.
Yeah.
And Japan too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Same thing even for like elevators, right?
Yeah. That too. Yeah. I've been in, and so yeah, I know where Todd is getting at.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So anyone know why Canadians are allowed to visit South Korea up to 6 months without a visa?
Are you asking? Is it? Especially at times like this during the pandemic, they are lenient with Canadians.
Yeah, and actually, right now, what I've been looking is Canadians in general can't even come in unless they have a job here.
Mm.
But pre-COVID, yeah, Canadians get 6 months tourist visa.
How about Americans?
We only get 3 months.
Oh, okay.
Kind of sucks for us because we Americans help protect the borders. So
but that's more for us. We cannot really invite our Filipinos cannot really go here and visit here.
Oh yeah, and I did something about that because that upsets me a little, and not just because my girlfriend's Filipina, but it's like going back to the contributions Filipinos did for South Korea during the Korean War.
Yeah, that was a thing. That was an issue before, right? The
hashtag cancel Korea.
Yeah, I actually didn't delve much about that. For me, that was a non-issue.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was all sorted out regarding that cancel Korea thing.
Yeah. So yeah, and and then I actually did a live stream about the Philippine Army's participation.
Okay.
Yeah. And now, because I've went to the Korean War Museum twice. The first time I didn't see anything about Filipinos, but like when in 2018 they put more stuff about
one in Juanan or another.
What?
I mean, the Korean War Museum. Like, where did you go? Which?
The one in near Itaewon.
Okay, I haven't been there.
Yeah, no, it'll take you all day to get through that.
Oh.
So it's worth going. So if you ever go, yeah, now you will see the Philippines being honored in that museum.
Because I think the Philippines was the first country to help Korea, right, in Asia.
Exactly. Yeah, and the crazy part is the Philippines army and government wasn't asked. They volunteered on their own accordance to come. They didn't have to
Oh.
come.
So it like they took their own initiative to come to Korea,
Yes.
help Koreans.
I didn't even know that. And the president even sent his two sons, one son-in-law and his son. He says, before
Oh.
you guys go, I'm sending my son first.
Wait, when was the Korean War?
1950 to 1953.
Who was our president back then? Was it Jose Laurel?
It was Edio.
El Pijo
Yes,
Quirino?
yes, Corino.
Was that after the Japanese War? Was that after the Second World War? Or
Yeah, it was after the second one.
yeah, because the Second World War is 1945. Yeah, 1950.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. 1950s.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, because Corino lost. He had 5 kids, but he lost 3 of them and his wife during the Japanese occupation.
Okay.
So yeah, so I love history, so I look into a lot of it.
Roy Jones, my last GF was a psycho. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, instead of practical improvement, more like adjust or improvised behavioral approach.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, that's the key. You know, even when you go anywhere else. So let's see. I just tell my Korean friends to just come eat at a barbecue place instead of age.
But sometimes they would really insist on knowing your age. That's why.
Yeah. So some people, do go, King, why do you do that? I just don't like the weirdness.
I don't know, like you know how kids, in your case, Lee, you don't teach in a Hagwon, right?
Yeah,
sometimes kids, they would ask, teacher, how old are you? Or do you have a boyfriend? Do you have a husband? Are you married? The funny thing is they wouldn't ask, do you have a husband? They would just ask, are you married?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I tell them I'm 100 years old. What, teacher?
I know someone who does that. Like Korean Wonjangnim, she would tell that to her students. I'm like, she would just say, I'm way older than you, or like I'm 100 years old. But sometimes if I have like Korean middle-aged women, not right age, let's say like late 30s women learning English. So they would not want to know your age. And sometimes my Wonjangnim would just like tell them right in the open, okay, she's 30 like this or whatever. But it's okay to get compliments that, okay, really? You don't look like that. I mean, I think that is the good part about that. Like they would give you like compliment that you don't look like your age or you don't look your age.
Yeah.
That's a bonus. So.
Yep. Hashtag love in Korea. Yep. And so many countries contribute to the Korean War. A salute to all of them. Yep. Let's add all the UN nations, Todd. So I did add that in one of the streams.
Tired of Americans after 3 months.
Yeah, they get tired of me. Luckily, I'm not a tourist here. Wow.
Getting out of the Philippines is very difficult, at least that when I was visiting. What do you mean getting out of the Philippines is very difficult for Filipinos? What do you mean by that? Like trying to pursue a better life abroad or traveling outside of the Philippines? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I think it's in general, because of course jobs abroad pay more.
Like, if you're just talking about traveling, for one, our passport is not strong. So we can only go to, I'm not really sure if it's 63 or 87 countries visa free. So I'm not really sure if he's talking about that one or like being able to like seek greener pastures abroad. So I hope he expounds on that one.
Yeah. So the general. Let's see. Eyelash sounds like a compliment. I would give a young man, if there are amazing lashes, I want to give a compliment, but none to make them think I was a dirty old American lady. Nice one, Christine. Oh, that's my question. Why can we stay here so long for holiday? Maybe because Canada in the war.
COVID or regardless of this COVID situation.
Yeah, because COVID. Yeah, I don't think Canadians can come in unless they have a teaching job or employment here. Then,
but of course, if that is the case, maybe because Canada caught fought in the war in Korea, shouldn't they give that same privilege to Filipinos? We couldn't even go to Korea. We couldn't even visit Korea without a tourist visa, right?
Yep. And of course, you heard like the restrictions is now Filipinos can come visit, but they have to finish in Jeju.
Yeah, but that's like a visa free, right? If you go to Jeju, if you visit Jeju, but you can't really visit mainland Korea.
Yeah, the mainland Korea. So, but because when I was in Cebu, the news was Filipinos can come out to Korea for about a week or 5 days, and then their next flight has to be in Jeju.
Yeah, like a transit thing. Like a transit.
Yeah.
If you want to go to Hong Kong, and then from Hong Kong, they can go to Jeju, something like that.
Yeah. So I was just hearing so many different news. Yeah. So that's more like Filipino asking for age. Like, what are you doing now?
What?
So that's more like Filipinos asking for age, like what you're doing now. It's the same thing. Like if they ask about your age, Rona, what are you doing right now?
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Oh, I'm late. Okay, so Todd is late.
All right. So, Todd, I teach English here, but back in the Philippines, I'm a nurse.
And speaking of nursing, you talked about, because since I got to hang out in your stream last Saturday, what is your mission? Your mission is to get to the States?
Like my goal?
Yes.
Well, it's part of the process already because like the process is ongoing. So it's like if everything is okay, probably in a year or 1.5 years. So I really don't know how fast the process. We would be migrating to the US. So because like if everything goes smoothly, nurses get to receive a green card, like immigrant visas. We don't when we move to the US, we are already employed. So we don't get the working visa. We're not under working visas, but we're under immigrant visas right away.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering if it was like a J1, J2, or J3
No. Because like before, I had a student from Samsung. He had like the J1, J2. Like for a year, you're going to study there. Like take your PhD and masters and stuff. That is a different thing because like we get the PR right away. We get the green card.
Okay.
Even our dependents, like for example, my husband, but he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to change his nationality. Like if I have kids by that time, my kids is an automatic unless I give birth there. But my kid would hold an immigrant visa, like a green card right away.
Okay. That would be so interesting if you have kids in the US. Because so the thing is, because then we talked about this and you talked about this in your stream, because then your husband still would have to register your future kids in the Korean registry.
Yeah, they could have the dual citizenship until they're 18, right? Or 17, something like that. Especially for men, they have to decide by age 17. But hopefully by that time, the National Assembly would have passed a law allowing dual citizenships for Korean kids, especially for kids of multicultural families.
Yeah.
Because it kind of sucks, like you cannot take the foreigner, let's say the mom or the dad's nationality because you're not allowed to. But let's see, we don't know. But probably by that time, they were able to decide already, or they're able to decide if they would allow the dual citizenships for Koreans.
Yeah. Yeah, and I didn't even know for like some of the Olympic players, African American player for basketball, I thought he was allowed to have both passports. He had to surrender his U.S. passport.
He had to renounce his U.S.
Yes. Oh. He could get it back once he's done playing basketball for Team Korea, but he had to get a Korean passport and drop the U.S. for the time being.
Oh.
I didn't know that.
How the Korean law works, so.
Yeah. So I was like, what? Yeah, Koreans don't typically ask unless you get into more of the deep conversations. Yep, I agree, Daniel. Yeah, yep, and most countries won't want to give a Filipino visa.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, probably like most countries don't want to give like for tourist visas.
Yeah.
on that aspect. But for working visas, I don't think Filipinos have a problem because I think we're second to Mexico, like manpower. We're supplying
Yeah.
manpower around the world. Like we're second to
Yeah.
Mexico.
Yeah. A lot of OFWs. Yeah. Okay. And Daniel
What is
says,
the perception that Filipinos lack discipline and not effective government among the list? Okay. But the funny thing is, like, what they would say is like when Filipinos live abroad, they follow all the rules. But when
yeah.
Filipinos in the Philippines, they break the rules, or we break the rules.
Yeah. Okay. And I mean, Philippines immigration stops that from going out. Sometimes we had to appear for separate interviews at immigration, and I had to sign a waiver that I'll take care of her and bring her back. So that's the thing called offloading.
Why?
Well,
But
because if a
for example, but in Thailand, for example, Filipinos don't need a visa to go to
mm,
Thailand.
no, but here's the situation: if say there's a foreign man taking his Filipino girlfriend to another country, and she's never been outside of the Philippines, she
Mm-hmm.
can get offloaded.
Really?
Yes. The Philippines immigration will be like, no.
Even if that woman is of legal age, I
Yeah,
haven't heard of that.
because here's the fear. The fear is
Human trafficking
possible,
or what?
possibly, yeah, it is
Okay.
trafficking and the financial solvency. Because what happens is, what if that foreign boyfriend or any boyfriend leaves that Filipina stranded? Well, the Philippines government is responsible to bring her back into the country at the government's expense.
Okay, but okay. Thanks for giving me that info. But it was my first time to hear that about being offloaded. I mean, I would,
Yeah,
of course, there is this possibility or the risk of like human trafficking, but I haven't heard of that being offloaded just because you were accompanied by a foreigner, something like that. Because
yeah,
personally, I haven't experienced that. Well, I mean, of
yeah,
course, we have different background
yeah,
stuff like travel history, but it was my
yeah,
first time to hear somebody being uploaded just because you are probably accompanied by a foreigner and it's your first time and they're looking at your financial status and stuff.
yeah. Yeah, and even for my girlfriend, like when I met her, before I started to date her, she went to Taiwan for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So she had to bring all her financial stuff with her. She had to have everything in place. And, for her, she was lucky. She has a professional job, online teaching, and she was able to go.
Yeah, my first trip to Korea, I was actually with my mom. But
Uh,
I mean, again, it was not my first out of the like an out of the country trip, right? Because I've told you I went to the U.S. and before that, like I've gone to Japan, Vietnam with my friends, like traveling. I like traveling. But my first time in Korea I was with my mom. But my
yeah.
subsequent visits, I just traveled alone. The
Okay.
immigration, they would just ask you the basic questions. What would you be doing there? And then they would ask you, of course, your job.
Yeah.
So I'm a
Yeah.
nurse, so that is a stable job in the Philippines, and
Yeah.
they wouldn't think that I would what do you call this? I would just drop my job in the Philippines and work as a nurse in Korea, which is kind of impossible.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're gonna look at your travel history because they have that, right? Once they put your name on
Exactly.
your computer, they have that, and like you overstay on whatever country or wherever you go, something like that. It's a case. I think
Yeah.
it's a case to case thing, like case to case
Yeah.
basis.
Yeah.
I tried to get a poor Filipino friend a visit to visit America, and it was ridiculous. Hard spending about 1,000. Okay, you use the word poor Filipina friend. So, like, how would you quantify that? Like, a tourist visa, because the U.S. Embassy in the Philippines is very strict.
Yeah. I think it's the way it's stuck is putting us, yeah, just to come visit. So it's a tourist. So it's a
Yeah,
visit
and if
America.
you're just spending just 1,000, she just still didn't get approved. Because as far as I know, the tourist visa fee would be like $160 or 200. I'm not really sure because during
Yeah.
my time, it was like $80 or $100, and then after the 10 years, we get to renew it. We're lucky we got renewed for the tourist visa.
Yeah.
Um, but spending $1,000, do you mean that she reapplied? Like, because you can apply a U.S. visa. I'm not really sure if the process is the same. Like, you can apply after 6 months. Like once you get
Yeah.
denied, you can apply again after 6 months. Like the Korean tourist visa in the Philippines. So
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what's the process now, but it's really hard to get a tourist visa in the US tourist visa, especially if you don't have a stable job. Before they would even have this like what do you call this, like standard that you have to have work in your company for 3 to 5 years to be sure that you will be given a US tourist visa.
Yeah. Yeah. I even heard of that for even for nurses, they would do 3 to 5 years in the Philippines,
But
then
for
make
nurses,
their
it's
move.
kind of hard because
Yeah.
they would like the immigration would think like, oh, you're a nurse, your background is like the healthcare
Mm.
industry, or you're a nurse.
Yeah.
So they would think you were illegally stay there so that you'll be able in the long run you'll work in the US as a nurse. So they're
Yeah.
kind of strict with nurses as well.
Yeah.
Because that happened to my brother.
Oh, okay.
That happened to my brother. He was just ready to go. He thought he will be sent back to the Philippines.
Oh, wow.
Like, you know, the airport, we have this term in the Philippines, airport to airport thing. Like he was in the immigration for like, he was questioned for like 7 hours or so. And then he was like, I'm just ready to go back. I'm hungry. And my brother is different whenever he's hungry, you know, like when people are hungry, and they were asking all these questions and stuff. And like, he was just ready to go back. But good
Yeah.
thing he was allowed, it was in LAX. He was allowed entry, but he was only given 1 month to visit
Oh,
America. Because you can
wow.
visit in a maximum of 6 months, right, with a tourist visa. But he
Yeah.
was only allowed to, like, the date of
Yeah.
exit. It was like, okay, you came here August 1. You have to be out in the US, like out here, like by September 1.
Yeah.
Like it was stamped on his passport. So he was actually
Oh,
scared that he was gonna be sent back, but he was ready because he was hungry.
yeah. So he was hangry.
Yeah, he was hungry and angry.
Yeah. So,
Thank you,
and
Todd.
yeah, so Todd says that. And Bama.
IRona, you might not want to live in the US. The cost of living here is sky high, especially in the city that I will be living in, which
Yeah.
is New York. But Korea as well, the cost of living is quite high here. So, I
Yeah.
mean, of course, America is still more
Yeah.
expensive.
Right.
Or, yeah, nurses can work almost anywhere in the world. I agree, especially for Filipinos. I think Philippines supply the most number of nurses around
Yeah.
the world, not only in the
Yeah. Yeah. Do you remember when I said it? Every California hospital I've been to, there was a Filipino nurse.
I'm not sure if like remember before Iljun, I told you he was based in California, one of my subscribers as well.
Yeah.
I forgot his new name because his old was obsessed with soccer. It got hacked and stuff. I
Yeah.
told him like I think 1% of the healthcare workforce in the US is composed of Filipinos.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, yeah, I remember you said that in your stream.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Daniel says, not always true. Some states have low cost of living. So, yeah, there are some states. Does anything know about Kratom?
I don't know.
Could you specify how it's thought of in Southeast Asia?
What is that?
Yes, Christine was asking Kratom.
I'm gonna check.
Yeah, maybe
Plant?
you can.
It's a plant. Mitragna is a
Okay,
tropical evergreen in the coffee family, native to Southeast Asia. It's Indian. What is it for?
so something for skincare or health. So,
It's a plant. Where
yeah,
here? It's I don't know. It has a psychotropic mind altering effect. But it's
oh,
my
okay,
first time actually to hear about that. It's not indigenous to our country though. It's more of like
yeah,
Thailand, Myanmar.
yeah. So all the way
Uh,
on that side of Southeast Asia.
like an opioid and stimulant.
Okay,
So probably other countries might restrict it.
yeah.
Or
Trying to
it's
get some.
like a restricted substance. Like you cannot
Yeah,
buy it over the counter.
yeah. So let's see. Daniel says cities. Some cities: Texas, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Arkansas have low cost of living, and so does South Dakota. Wow. So Nip Bomb, if she would have told you that you had nice eyes, that would be more a compliment that you are getting hit on and not impressed with your eyelashes. You're cracking me up. And she was 25, finished nursing soon. Felt like I was asking the father of the girl to take her daughter out on a date, bring her back by 10. Wow, that is crazy.
I think I'm a weird person with love. No, I love people with long eyelashes as well. For one, because I don't have long eyelashes, so I get amazed whenever, especially men. I think
Yeah,
like for women it's kind of common, but if like you see men with long eyelashes, it's kind of amazing or impressive.
yeah. Oh,
Oh,
wow, Daniel.
Filipinos are now 275. So back then it was like 100, and then I
Wow,
heard it was raised to 160, but now it's 275.
wow, that's a big raise.
It's true, but GF had to show a copy of my passport before Philippines would allow her to go and play the flight to Thailand. She flew there alone. I met her. Why? I
Yeah,
mean, as I've said a while ago, it's a case to case basis, especially
yeah.
if the person doesn't have an extensive travel history.
Mm-hmm.
Or you don't really need to have like an extensive travel history. Probably if it's your first time to travel out of the
Yeah,
Philippines,
yeah,
then there might be kind of worried and stuff. They're like wary of your purpose of going to another country, and also it would make a difference if you don't have a stable job, something like that.
yeah,
'Cause we don't, for one, we don't need a visa going to Thailand, right, or to go to
yeah.
Thailand.
Yeah, you
So
get 30 days.
yeah, so then they're gonna look at the other aspects.
Yeah,
We don't need a visa, so kind
yeah,
of sucks.
yeah. What was the thing? They said, get a, I was looking like at the Korean blogs for like going to Korea for Filipinos. There's like, make sure you get a platinum card, BDO or
Oh
BPI.
yeah, no, really, no. Like, but that's not an assurance though. Like
Yeah,
if you have a BDO or BPI credit card, you can get like a 3 year to 5 year tourist visa.
yeah.
So, but if you have a 3 year or 5 year tourist visa, you're only allowed to visit Korea for a month. Unlike if you have the single entry visa, you're allowed to stay here for 3 months, for 90 days.
Ah,
Because
okay.
my mom, I think in 2015 she did that. Like I think it was like in 2015 that BDO had that promo and BPI. So my mom had a BDO credit card and stuff, and also had a BDO credit card. So we both had the multiple visa thing, and then my brother and my sister-in-law, I think in 2017 or 2018, they got the BPI
Ah, okay.
pre-COVID. So all of my family members have multiple entry visas to Korea. It's just that my mom's visa has already expired last month. And even if you have a valid visa, you cannot, even if you have a valid visa and you're Filipino, you cannot visit here.
Oh,
It's temporary terminated. Is that the
yeah.
word? Is that the term? Yeah.
Yeah, for now. Yeah, but, well, now I'm just learning something because, yeah, I'd like to get my girlfriend to come visit here. But
No.
right
Like,
now, it can't.
yeah, it's impossible. Like for example, I read a lot of blogs. They want to invite their parents, especially for pregnant women. They would want to invite
Yeah,
their moms to help them with the pregnancy, and I mean post pregnancy. It's impossible. It's kind of unfair because for some countries they would allow it. I mean, it would be the same process. It would be the same legal process. Like they would allow American women to invite their moms, their parents to be
yeah,
able to travel here and help them post pregnancy or pre or post pregnancy, something like that.
yeah,
And like Filipinos would even argue America has more cases than the Philippines, right? I mean, COVID cases, although Philippines has a lot of COVID cases. But the process would be the same. It would not be legal because we have to apply for a visa for our parents when they come here, like a long-term
yeah.
visa.
Oh, yeah,
But for now, it's impossible. It's
yeah,
impossible to travel here on a tourist visa for Filipinos, even if you have a valid tourist visa.
yeah. Wow. And also the interview process not standardized, but more so on conversational
Oh yeah,
and looking for red flags.
It kind of depends on the console as well.
Yeah.
Isn't the cost
Wow.
of living just high as in Korea as you? I think so. I think I read about that. For example, the cost of milk and eggs would be more expensive in Seoul than in New York or other states in the US. I think I've read about it. I read an article about that.
Yeah. Even bananas.
Yeah, like that. Like the produce. Like
Yeah,
in
it's
general, like
expensive here.
the grocery items are kind of more expensive here compared in the US. But I think in terms of accommodation like rent, US is still more expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, US is more expensive on housing because my housing is really cheap.
Yeah. But I mean, if you want to have a house here or like an apartment, it's also kind of expensive. I mean, for the size. And like for example,
Yeah.
in the US, you can probably buy correct me on this, you can probably buy like a 300,000 house. So you already have a backyard, right?
Yeah, more
Backyard,
space.
bedroom. Yeah, more space. But in Korea, it's kind of impossible if you want to have it as a house. Like it's
Yeah.
impossible to get a $300,000 house in Korea. Probably like somewhere in the province, the minimum would be like $500,000 max for like a
Yeah.
house. Call it like jutek, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's here. There's not even a lot of houses like what we see in the movie Parasite. It's a lot of apartments all over the place.
I mean, the land itself.
Yeah.
If you have a house, it's not as big as
Yeah.
what you expect to have a house. Like a
Yeah.
decent one with a backyard, but that would cost you a lot.
Yeah, it's an arm and a leg.
Not so much, but everything in relative.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
suburban or rural cities, it's cheaper than Seoul.
Yeah. And Daniel talks about Namyeongju, Sokju, Daegu, Pohang.
I don't really know if it like if is there a big difference in terms of the prices of the goods? Like if you live in Seoul and out of Seoul?
I don't know about goods because
Because, like, for example, the transportation fees, let's say the subway, the buses, they're standardized, right?
yeah, they're standardized all over Korea. It's
The taxis,
$12.50.
right? The base fare for taxis would be at 3,500 won. So
Uh,
probably it would apply for the housing, probably.
Housing's been different. I've noticed because me being in the city of Daejeon, it's much cheaper than what I've seen on Seoul's. Or when I go on Gabang to see housing in Seoul and Daejeon, it's night and day. I'm like,
So it really depends on what you're trying to quantify, like expensive and cheap. So yeah, probably like restaurants, others would cost. I mean, probably of course the restaurants in Seoul would be more expensive than the restaurants in some cities or in some provinces.
yeah, that's why I'm in Daejeon. It's much cheaper, and I could easily come to Seoul in less than 1 hour.
Yeah, they have like the high speed
KTX,
or the
yeah,
bus.
KTX. Oh wow. Oh, pain management. I was thinking even like,
Yeah, that's what I said a while ago, Christine. It's like an opioid or a stimulant, but it's my first time to hear that, and apparently it's not indigenous in the Philippines, so other Southeast Asian countries. So probably somebody who's from Thailand, Myanmar, Vietnam, they would be able to answer that. But for someone from the Philippines, I haven't heard of that, or probably my friends would have heard of that, but
yeah, and yeah, depending on particulars. Yeah.
It depends on the city. It depends on the state.
Yeah. Good to know.
Okay, so next piece of advice: a good eyelash curler would be from Shuemura, which is a Japanese brand.
Yeah.
That's a staple for me.
Yeah. So let's see. The only state so far lowest cost is Oklahoma, and Korea, Jeonju, and Pohang.
I've been to Jeonju. You know the famous bibimbap. I've been there. I've been there for the travel, but I mean, I went there for travel, but not for.
Yeah. And you know what Pohang is known for?
Pohang, is it part like Pohang? Is it the part of like southern part, like Busan stuff?
Yeah, it's on the ocean. It's known for steel shipbuilding.
Oh, like Goje? Like same with Goje?
Yeah, this is all the ship ports. But you know, the funny thing is, the reason I learned about Pohang is their football team is called Pohang Steelers.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, so that's how I go. Oh, steel. So they build a lot of
Building.
ships.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so it's known
I
for
want to
shipbuilding.
know, biggest contrast is the cost within the healthcare
Oh
system.
yes. Oh yeah.
Why? Could you guys enlighten me on that one? What do you mean the healthcare system? Because in
It's,
Korea it's
it's
kind of pretty standardized.
yes, but it's expensive in the U.S. The U.S. the healthcare system is so
Yeah,
messed up.
yeah. Okay. I thought Todd is trying to compare the healthcare system in each state. He's trying to compare the healthcare system in the US and Korea.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm worried about as well. Moving to the US, the healthcare system. That's why my husband has no plans of changing his nationality.
Yeah.
We want to keep the insurance, the healthcare insurance here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's much because if you're a Korean citizen, it's much cheaper. I have to probably pay double than what your husband has to pay.
Yeah, and I mean, in my case, my insurance is based off his insurance, like his
Yeah.
company and stuff. So, Irona,
Hmm.
what do you know now about Korea that you wish you knew before you came to Korea? I always get that question a lot, but I do need to like get a correct answer. What do you know now about Korea that you wish you knew before you came to Korea? Um, how about Korea? Probably like the social circle thing. It's hard. I
Yeah.
mean, about friends and stuff. Like, what do you now know about Korea that you wish to? Mm, maybe the hierarchy thing. Still the hierarchy thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know that it's that extreme.
Yeah.
Like I wish that people are more open, especially I mean when it comes to the ages and stuff. Like they wouldn't really discriminate if you're older or younger than them. That everyone
Yeah.
should just be equal, something like that. But probably in that case of in the culture, but on a daily basis, what do you know about Korea wish you knew before you came to Korea? I'm gonna think about that. That
Okay.
I
Yeah.
can give you a good answer.
Yeah. 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 Agree, Todd. Healthcare system is a forefront. Medical technology affordable.
Yeah, I agree. But the only thing that I like about the U.S. healthcare system, probably it's more of the interpersonal relationship of doctors and patients. Unlike in Korea, like the pali-pali system,
Yeah.
like doctors don't really like to explain a lot about something. That's why I get it a lot. Like for example, whenever
Oh.
we go to consultations and I would ask questions, and sometimes the doctors might get off or like might be curious, why is she asking a lot of questions? And then my husband would tell the doctor, like he would tell the doctor, oh, because she's a nurse. Like my husband would give him or her a heads up
Yeah.
as to the
Yeah.
reason why I'm asking a lot, because like sometimes they prefer someone who speaks Korean so they can
Yeah.
explain it, something like that, or sometimes they don't want to explain at all. Like,
Yeah.
okay, you waited for 20 minutes, you're just gonna be seen for like 2 minutes, finish.
Yeah. It's fast. Yeah. So the doctor didn't know you were a counselor.
Yeah, a canosa, yeah. So, but it's
Yeah.
kind of funny. Like, I went to a dermatologist, the Piboga, and the consultation lasted for like 10 minutes. And this doctor was showing me images in Google, like Google
Yeah.
Images, and she was like showing me, okay, so this blah blah blah. And then my husband's like, "What's going on? Why are we staying here for a long time?" And he was like, does he want to practice his English or what? Or is he glad, or is he just glad that he's speaking English? It's kind of funny. And like when we went out, a lot of people, maybe they're like 5 minutes outside. So that is not a normal thing for a doctor to see a patient for like more than 10 minutes.
Yeah. No, I've noticed that a couple times I've been when they figured out I didn't speak Korean, and they're like, doctor said, "Okay, I'll help you with this." Oh wow.
The biggest
Oh,
counter is the chips are selling by
thrift stores.
that in Korea. Yeah, I agree. That's
Yeah,
why
thrifts.
whenever I go to the US, I love the shopping, like you get your money's worth. Like that's a funny thing. Like for example, Gap, like the
Yeah.
American brand Gap. You know how in Korea it's kind of pretty expensive, and also in the Philippines.
Yes.
Well, you can go to the outlets, but it's still expensive. But in the US, I was able to buy like a $5 or $7 jacket for like I think for a 7-year-old for my nephew, and I was
Mm-hmm.
able to get it for $7, which you will not be able to buy here in Korea.
Yeah. Wow. Yep. They're hard to come by. Yeah, and if there is any, it's very rare, and you can't find it. You have to do it word of mouth.
And then King, I'm not really sure regarding the Korean culture. Are they open like with thrift stores? I feel like Koreans, I mean, aside from like they like to shop, I don't know if they are, correct me on this, like they want to buy like new stuff, new things, expensive stuff, like like they wouldn't really go for the thrift stores. Like their idea
No.
for me, my their idea of thrift stores would be like outlets. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I really, that's just my opinion. So correct me on that one. Like that's their idea of thrift stores, like outlets, which could still be expensive.
Yeah. No, they always want new stuff because you know what I do sometimes? People will leave furniture. When they move, they'll want to get all new furniture. And guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to take that furniture and
Yeah,
use it.
my friend, he would just disinfect it, like spray it all over
Yeah.
with Lysol and stuff, and then it's good to go. The computer chairs, the sofas, the tables.
Yeah. And the sticker's still on it. So when I want to get rid of it 6 months from now, here you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So just FYI, people, you need to have a special sticker when you're getting rid of furniture.
Yeah, when you're trying to dispose your furniture and other bigger items.
Yeah.
You'll be lucky to have IRona. NYC is pretty expensive, Manhattan, but you can live in the boroughs or outskirts for a lot less if you don't mind. My aunt lives like Queens. Like, a lot of Asians live in Queens. So my
Yeah.
aunt lives there. And I heard from a friend that usually some nurses who work in New York, they would live in New Jersey, but it's like an hour commute, or sometimes they
Yeah.
bring their cars and they park their cars and then they take the train, or they take the bus to Penn Station, something like that.
Yeah. Even police officers, they live in New Jersey. So it's even called Copland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. A capsule room for rent in Itaewon and Nandemyun for $6 a night.
Wait, Daniel T is the Filipino Chinese, right?
Yeah.
So he has been to Korea. I
Oh,
assume
yes.
yes, a lot of times.
Yeah.
Because
He's
that's why.
seen more stuff.
Wait, who is the Korea boo? Is it Daniel T or Nitbun? I'm confused.
No. Nippon's a semi-Korea boo. Daniel T's not the Korea boo.
Okay. I'm confused. Sorry. Because Daniel T is pretty much knowledgeable about Korea, so I got confused. Sorry.
Yeah. No, he's been to more places than I have been to.
Probably more than I have been to as well. Because my husband would always tell me, "You've been like." My husband would tell his friends, "Rana has been to a lot of places more than he did."
Yeah.
I need
Yeah.
$30
So
per night. Okay.
yeah.
And the low cost. Keep in mind the cost of owning a car in the US, which should be required for living in many. I understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Bam. I have that in mind. My husband also told me that my husband also tried to try to make me realize like regarding that, like, okay, here in Korea we have 2 cars. Are you willing to give up? But I mean, it's kind of complicated, like, he knows what my dreams are, like what my plans are. So I always tell him I want to try it out because I don't want to live my life with regrets. Like, I'm going to live my life always thinking, I haven't done it. I haven't tried it, So if it doesn't work out for me, I always have Korea to come back.
Yeah. Yeah. So housing and food prices are cheaper except transportation. Yeah. So that's what Daniel is. And yep. And riding in public transportation in Korea is much better than driving.
It depends because there are a lot of crazy drivers out here.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why he prefers to take public transportation. And I take public transportation. Yeah. And I could easily buy a Maltese car for less than $1,000, but I rather walk. I exercise. That's the reason I do it.
Yeah, I know that. The small ones.
Yeah. Yeah, they're really cheap. Yeah.
Thank you, George.
Thank you. Wow. Yeah, we're having a hard time keeping up with comments here.
Because I think like even the viewers are talking to one another as well.
Yeah. So Bama, wow, $100 a night.
Along the beach will be 300 for the best Western hotel. I think it also goes. It goes for Korea as well, right? I mean,
Yeah,
depending if it's like off peak or during the peak season.
yeah. Because even when I do Airbnb, I'm just like, whoa, it's expensive when I come to eat till one. So sometimes I'll just do the guest house thing.
Ah, yeah, it's way cheaper.
Yeah,
But you have to be careful with the camera thing, the spy cameras.
yeah,
It's better. You can give someone.
yeah.
She's a government
Healthcare.
expensive habits.
Yeah,
Thing. Ah, okay.
yeah. Because that's another thing. Americans were more obese and big there.
And I watched documentary like the healthcare system is kind of complicated because it involves a lot of businesses, especially pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah,
So it's like f up in terms of
yeah,
that.
yeah. Yeah. Actually, I have healthcare in the U.S. I have a thing called ATP, ability to pay, because I do, but it's for county hospitals in LA. So if I show up and do a doctor visit, I pay $90 and that's it. I pay for the whole month. So I could come every day to the doctor.
Mm. But I mean, in the US, do you have to go through a GP first, like a family doctor, family medicine, general practitioner, before you can go to a specialist? Because before I worked in, because I'm a US nurse, right? So I work in a company in the Philippines wherein we try to approve like insurance requests. For
Yeah.
example, if you want to get like physical therapy sessions or you want to get a steroid injection, stuff like that, they have to go through like in Canada, you have to go through like a family practitioner first before you can go to a specialist, which is not the case in Korea. Like in Korea, you have the freedom
Yeah.
to go to a doctor, to choose a doctor. But how is it in the US?
Well, in my case, because I didn't show high income, so I went to county, LA County.
Ah, okay, county. Okay.
Yeah, so that's how I was, because for me, I'm not in the US a lot. So it was kind of like that was the best insurance for me to get.
But the insurance thing in the US is like if you're working, does the employer provide you with an insurance, or is it like half of it you have to pay for it and the half the employer has to pay for it?
It depends on the job, where you're at.
Okay.
Like if you're a school teacher in a school district, it's full medical.
Because in the Philippines as well, they provide full medical. We never have to pay for the insurance thing, like for the health
Yeah,
insurance.
yeah,
But what do you call this? You don't have to pay for the insurance, but the things like there is a limit as to how much if ever you get hospitalized.
yeah. There's a deductible.
30 million viewers today. I hope that would be for our viewers. I hope Kim and I would get 30 million
Yeah,
views.
yeah. We know that from the Filipino YouTube analytics. We say so for each viewer, we times it by 1,000,000.
Yeah, I know. Like they would say that you have 30 million viewers in the house, something like that.
Yeah.
Just
So
provide a high plan for your medical insurance, meaning you pay the first 5,000 out of pocket upfront, no matter what your sickness or need, and then
mhm.
you get a reimbursement.
Or you have to just pay that out first, and then everything else is covered.
Ah, okay.
So you're out of pocket, you pay 5Gs, and then everything else taken care of. So sometimes those deductibles are pretty high.
Backing up, doctor practicing English. Not bad, but that's true.
Yeah.
It's not like
So,
it's not like he is practicing English. It's just like he's glad that he's speaking to someone in English because probably he's fluent or he's proficient in English, something like that. So
yeah.
like all of your patients are Korean, so you
Yeah.
speak Korean all day. So it's like changing your routine, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, here's my subscriber for my sports, Nolan. I don't know if the camera is fixed yet because I
Yes, your cam
realized.
is fixed. That's what he said. Your cam is fixed. Oh, is he
Yeah, but
talking or is he saying?
well, because remember I told you when I did the sports live stream this morning,
Yeah.
my camera went black, but I think it goes black when I do screen share of the website.
Oh, okay, I got it.
So we'll see tomorrow because I'll be on again, Nolan, for the game 3 tomorrow. So
Friends are known for shopping for new stuff. Self wasn't close anymore. Yeah. Daniel, I always say this. I watch a documentary, but it's true. I love watching documentaries. So I watched this documentary. I think King, you heard this during my stream. Like
Yeah,
like a CNA. It's a Singapore based broadcasting show. I think like out of like the OECD countries or in the world, Korea has a very high debt per capita.
yeah. Biggest household debt
Yeah, that
in
one.
Asia.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know
so,
people I know people agree. Oh
yeah.
yeah, sorry, Daniel. I'm not accusing you. I mean, it doesn't. I don't want to sound it as like an insult because I got confused with you and Knitband because you sound
Yeah,
too knowledgeable about Korea, more knowledgeable than me.
yeah. Dan. Oh yeah, Daniel's been to 60 countries in the last 10
Okay.
years.
I prefer cycling in Hanggang Park from west to east or vice versa.
Yeah. So yeah, he likes to cycle. Oh, and Christine says, "Well said. What exactly do you want to specialize in, and where in New York City is your dream?"
Where? Um, Actually, a lot of like, for example, because like Filipinos, there are a lot of U.S. nurses. They would always ask where in the U.S. is it best to practice nursing. Of course, they're considering the cost of living and something. Like I would always like people would always say New York is your stepping stone or California is your stepping stone, and probably when you have a family, then you move out to another state for lower
Mm,
cost of living. I haven't thought regarding Christine's question. I haven't thought of where exactly, but probably I'll be like Brooklyn or Queens because it's near my aunt. So, the main reason why I also chose New York is because I have a support system. My aunt lives there, and then my other aunt lives in New Jersey. Both are nurses. In terms of specialization, like I want to be like a nurse practitioner. I haven't decided yet. Probably like medical surgical thing. Yeah.
mm.
It kind of sounds
Okay.
like too technical, right? But can you feel the excitement when I talk about nursing, something like that? I'm not sure.
Yeah, that was my mom's profession too.
See, Asians.
Yeah, that was the thing.
The Todd
Okay,
said, I certainly understand the difference of bedside manner and explanation of a given situation. The question you must ask, what is the price you're willing to pay for it? Ah, okay. Yeah.
yeah. So that's the thing. So yeah,
Because
so there's no definite regulations.
medical services in general. Okay.
Yeah, I like George's comment.
No trolls, that's great.
Yeah, yeah, because my other friends they get so many trolls.
Really? Why?
Yeah, well, they're very popular. They have about 15 to 20,000 subscribers. My expat
Ah, but
friends.
sometimes randomly, like for other live streams, random people would just
Yeah,
like click the unlike button, the dislike button,
yeah,
stuff like that. But I haven't when I joined some live streams before by YouTube, like I haven't really encountered like trolls. I don't really know how they work in terms of live streams. I know how they work in terms of the comments, but not in live streams. So
yeah, yeah. And sometimes I'm a moderator for like 3 or 4 YouTubers. So
mm,
I see nasty stuff because these are my expat friends they do have young Filipino girlfriends and they're YouTubers too.
mhm.
So I have to go in there and delete because some of them are just nasty and rude, like F you this and that. So I have to go bye, bye, bye.
The thing
So
with trolls and bashers is kind of funny, like they want to say these hurtful words, but yet they still continue on watching your videos. Like, what the heck? If you don't like me, then stop watching my videos.
yeah. So yep. And when they start allowing medical bills to go against your credit, medical costs started skyrocketing USA. So yeah, lot of things about the USA. Okay. So
There is
yeah,
no which negotiates medical. Ah, okay.
yeah.
Right.
Because Korea has regulations about medical,
Yeah.
which is
Especially if
good.
they cannot really increase the professional fee of the doctors, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yes.
Reimbursement, haha, what's that?
Yeah.
So I guess there's none.
Yeah. So correct, Todd. There's no regulations on pricing for the most part. That's the problem with our medical system in the US.
I think the model is like more of a business model. That's why.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Now, and those places you pay the first 5Gs, no matter what, you don't get it back. Yeah. So that's out of pocket expenses.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, all right. So Nolan says, okay. Nolan's in the house. Yeah, I'll be on tonight as well for tomorrow for the Lakers game. Yeah. So I'll be doing that.
They're really happy.
13.
Give a thumbs up. That's excellent.
Yeah. Oh, I got thumbs down. Okay, and then he's gonna watch the Panthers game. That's a football team from North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, were you getting nervous? Oh yes, my heart beat rose so high this morning. It was a tight baseball game.
Filipino youth. Thank you, Nitban.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
Yes, this is a great stream. I have to run, but thanks, guys. And nice meeting you, Veronica. Okay. Thank you, Christine.
Yeah.
Save Nikki. Okay, I'm gonna do that hashtag. Save Nikki.
Yeah. So Brooklyn. Wow. You guys are creating
Are we?
Yep.
We're not Korea booze for one, so
Yeah.
I think we're not.
Yeah. Let's see. What we'll do is we'll go another 10 minutes. So the so-called dear country doesn't have a committee. Yep.
To negotiate medical services overall in general.
Yeah.
Bad reality.
Yeah. Okay, so Brooklyn's in the house. Wow, we got so many. Let's see.
My friends have compiled huge debit credit to purchases for the sake of impressing the public, and I asked them if they ever invest in real estate for ROI. Because I think like presentation here is everything.
Yeah. You know that term? In America, we have a thing called keeping up with the Joneses. I call it keeping up with the Kims and Parks and Lees.
Well, I haven't given up. I'm a leave. I haven't given up.
Yeah, I don't try to keep up either. 42. Nick Bob.
I will survive in Korea. I hate getting into debt. The only debt I have is my mortgage.
Yeah.
Even getting a house here, like an apartment, it would cost a lot. But and the government now, I think, made a law wherein if you own a house, you own a property, it would be difficult for you to get a loan from the bank to acquire another property, something like that. That is like the Moon Jae-in, right? The what do you call this? That is why people are angry at Moon Jae-in because of that.
Yeah. So our president. So yeah.
Exactly. That's what I also watched about the documentary.
Yeah.
I don't like to host my own YT channel, so I make an impact only on meaningful endeavors.
Yeah. Yeah. But Daniel always has good insight, so and then occasionally he'll come back as my guest. So yeah, and Daniel will be coming back again.
Many things, actually, not just medical.
Yeah.
I think that's also one reason why a lot of American retirees, they would prefer to retire in Southeast Asian nations or like other countries in general, because they can get a lot of things from their retirement money.
Yeah.
It would worth more in other countries compared in the US.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's and of course you know Dumageddon.
Yeah, Dumageddon, yeah.
Yeah, we have so many expats there now. It's crazy. But the standard of living for those expats, you could live off of $1,500 a month there.
$1,500?
Yeah, because you go live in Valencia in the mountains, rent's only $300.
I think in Manila the standard for some cities would be like 25,000 pesos. So probably like $500 to $600 for like townhouses or for condominiums, but in the city.
Yeah, and Cebu is quite expensive too.
Yeah, because Cebu is already urban, so
yeah, especially
if probably out of the city, then it could be a bit cheaper. But if you're in the central part, it's expensive.
Yeah, especially in Cebu City. Oh my, it could be costly, but unless you go a little bit outside of Ayala Business Center and IT Park, then it gets a little cheaper. So,
Korea.
Korea booth. Todd, you should know him. You've been here 15 years. He's from Chicago.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So is he on a permanent resident visa here, or?
Yeah, he's married to a Korean, so he has a F6 visa just like you do.
Ah, okay, okay. But for 15
Yeah.
years, hasn't he tried to change it to F5?
I don't know. Well, no, he still just kept the F6 because he works a lot.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Trying
He's busy.
that you don't have to impress people that you don't like the American dream.
Yeah. So there you go. Okay, 14 likes. There we go. We're looking good here. Florida, so true. Wow. Yep, medical system.
Failure.
Yeah.
I care
Okay.
more of substance and style. Presentation depends on one's needs, hence why I don't ever engage in education decision. It's a long term sell. I agree. People have different preferences, so
Yeah.
it should become expensive over flying by of currencies it bits up inflation. Yeah. Actually, not aside from this, I mean these three countries you have mentioned, Philippines is not cheap to live in anymore.
No.
Probably like in 20, when was that? 2018, my husband first noticed that the Philippines is not cheap anymore as it compared to like 5 years ago or 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Philippines is pretty much expensive as well.
Yeah. And I spend less money here in Dajin than I did in Cebu.
Like for example, where was it? Like other stuff would cost you 6,001 already in the Philippines, like 300 to 300. Have you had cornbread? Where could I find cornbread? What?
Yeah, cornbread. Let's see. Because it's a southern food.
Wait. Isn't that different from a corn muffin? Sorry, I'm not trying to be ignorant and stuff, but
yeah, it's different. Cornbread.
wait, I'm checking it now.
Yeah.
Mm,
So this is a type in the American South type of meals.
probably they have that in the bakeries.
Well, it's hard to find cornbread. I said,
Korea, corn is very much in all dishes, right? Like in pizzas, they put corn.
Yeah.
But not in breads.
Yeah, but the way cornbread looks, it's not like corn. It's just a special type of bread, and it's really hard to find.
But I mean, the main ingredient should be corn, right?
Yeah, it should be
cornbread.
Yeah, and just other things. Most of the times,
sweet peas, turnip greens, mashed potatoes with gravy. Gravy is not a thing here for one.
Yeah.
In the Philippines, gravy is it's a thing. So you're not gonna have a hard time with gravy because if you go to KFC, there's gravy. My husband would always ask me, "What's that brown sauce again that you can find in Jollibee, KFC, and all the fast food restaurants?" That's gravy. You can find gravy anywhere in the Philippines, and I think in the Philippines, they have a wide array of like produce, so you might not have a hard time, especially if you're gonna live in the city or like a central part of a city, something like that.
Yeah. Yep. And Daniel says notorious as cost overruns, especially in services that are substandard.
I agree.
Yeah. So cornbread is served in Cebu. Yeah. That is served in Cebu. Yeah.
I have been to Cebu. I've been there only once, so
yeah.
We did it 15 for 15. How long can a man survive with cornbread? Well, if you're not familiar with cornbread, probably you can survive your whole life. But for a man who's used to eating cornbread, then probably not a long time.
Yeah. So gravy. And
gravy is a thing in the Philippines.
Yeah. Jollibee's
like we have it in pictures. Did you notice that? Have you noticed that thing? We would serve the hot gravy and they're gonna pour that. Like excuse me, can I have extra gravy? And then they would have
Yes,
like the self-service counter wherein you can get your forks, your straws, and you can just serve your own gravy.
that's right. I remember that. Yeah, Todd misses it here. Wow.
Mama, you will be able to live in the Philippines without having any problems with gravy. There's
Yeah,
a gravy overload or a surplus of gravy.
yeah. Okay, so Nippon's got to go. Thank you, Nippon, for showing up.
John. I like his name.
Yeah.
Someone has
Yeah,
to go to the teleport machine and teleport. Which one? The gravy?
yeah, and cornbread.
I think for foreigners here, they just make their own gravy, right?
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
could probably.
it has the gravy mix. I mean, gravy mix is kind of available in stores. But I think if you want that authentic gravy, it would be hard to find.
Yeah, that's why you gotta go to Itaewon. So
Because they don't really serve even for chicken or steak. Like they don't. They have like the
no,
barbecue sauce, but not the gravy.
yeah. So yeah, can you find corn?
So I guess, Mama, if you're planning to visit the Philippines, will you be able to survive without your cornbread?
Yeah, yeah. About to go as well. Working remotely. How great to see Buddy King interviewing. Yeah, so he works remotely in Florida right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Filipino words. Well, more Visayan,
Hi,
Pila.
Melanie.
Yeah, hello, Melanie.
Do you know
My
any
own.
Filipino words? Yeah, King. Do you know any Filipino words? Your
Mostly
girlfriend is Filipina.
yeah, Visayan, like when I need to know how much something costs, Pila is the ayala mo.
Yeah, because in Cebu they speak either English or Cebuano or Bisaya, so you cannot
Yeah,
really hear people speaking Filipino or Tagalog.
yeah. And yeah, because my girlfriend made me realize, are you listening to them? I'm like, yeah, they sound very soft. It's not like how you sound. She goes, exactly. They're from Manila.
Like even if you ride the taxis, they would speak to you in Cebuano or in English. They wouldn't really speak to you in Tagalog, I think.
Yeah. Yep. I would love to, hopefully get Jessica Lee on. Do you know who Jessica Lee is?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
No. Who is
She's a YouTuber that lived in the Philippines for a lot of years, all through her childhood. And
is she the one who had the viral video about cancel Korea? Is that
yes,
the same person?
yes.
Okay. I don't know her personally. I've seen some of her videos, but I don't know her
Yeah.
personally. What do you
Yeah.
think Korea from home, IRona? Especially the food and the people.
Yeah. Yep. For the future live stream. Yep. Food wise.
Right. Yeah. Beer
beef,
gravy.
beef gravy.
Beef gravy.
Yeah.
We do serve that somewhere in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Biscuits and gravy in the Philippines sound nice. I mean, there wouldn't be any problem with gravy in the Philippines. Any fast food has gravies. Like any restaurants would serve you gravy if you would just
Yeah.
ask. I think they're even in bottles. Aside from the pitchers, gravy is very much available.
Yeah. And stuck is missing lechon and kari kari.
The funny thing, stuck in Florida, those are two Filipino dishes that I don't eat a lot and I'm not a fan of. It's like I would eat lechon, but you know how people they like the skin, the crunchy skin, like how they enjoy it. I'm not very fond of that. Kare-kare, because the kare-kare has the, what do you call that one? Tualia. I mean, kare-kare has an ingredient which I'm also not fond of, but it has the peanut, you have to put peanut butter on the kare-kare stuff. So I mostly want like sinigang, adobo, menudo, those food. Cornbread.
You can't get off cornbread. Understandable.
Nobody would argue with you about the cornbread.
Yeah.
How is it a sign of fully developed nation?
Yeah. Go more hike. Soju's and barbecues.
Sojus and barbecues. But I beef, not beef, yeah, more than samgyeopsal. I don't enjoy
Yeah.
samgyeopsal that much. I don't
Uh,
know.
yeah. Wow. Okay, Melanie said you should. So we should meet in person, have a collaboration video.
What do we our topic? What topic should we do?
We could do anything, or we could even do a mukbang for the video and talk about something.
If I'm gonna do a mukbang, I should not eat from the early. I mean, from the morning
Yeah,
until like that day would just be reserved for a mukbang.
yeah. I almost was gonna buy the BTS block ice cream set, but
What is that from Baskin and Robbins?
yes,
Ah,
I almost was gonna purchase it, but I decided I'll wait. I'll get it another time.
yummy, crispy. Where is Melody based, King?
I
Kim, you
don't,
married to a Korean?
I don't know who Melanie is based.
Hi, Melody. Where are you based? Are you based in the? I mean, I'm not even sure if you're Filipino, but are you based here in Korea? Basing from your last name Kim, I assume
Yeah,
you're either Korean or you're married to a Korean.
yeah, yeah. Because I noticed like Filipinas sometimes have Korean names.
I mean, I don't use my husband's last name even in my
Yeah,
SNS social media account. So
yeah, yeah.
no, fresh
Roasted.
roasted peanut butter is too sweet. Okay. They also put
Wow.
liver, right? Liver in kare kare. Any good restaurants suggest which representative? Wait, Todd is based here in Korea, right?
Yeah, he's here in Daejeon where I live.
Um, well, there is one in Pyeongtaek, but there's a famous one in Seoul. Like they call it Jovis Grill.
Okay.
But the funny thing is the owner is Korean, but I think they live in the Philippines for some time. So they
Uh,
serve sisig. They have the San Miguel beer, apple flavored San Miguel beer.
wow.
And that's what I'm looking for, the apple flavored San Miguel beer. And they serve like grilled squid and kare kare, I think. But I think most cities have their own Filipino restaurants. But although it's not as abundant as other countries or cuisines, like let's say Thai or Vietnamese.
Yeah.
So probably there would be like one Filipino restaurant per city, something like that. I mean, in my city, there's none, so I have to go to Pyeongtaek. Do you know where is Pyeongtaek?
Yeah, that's where the base camp
Yeah, yeah,
Humphreys
yeah.
is.
So Songtan, there is a Filipino restaurant there, or I have to go to Seoul, something
Yeah.
like that. Or in other provinces, there might be a restaurant. But in Daejeon, I am not familiar if there is a Filipino restaurant there.
Yeah, not that I know. I know one time it was advertised near Hannam University, but it was like one of those temporary things.
Ah, okay. Like a pop-up store and then
Yeah.
boom.
Yeah, it's like just this week only. Come and get all your Filipino delights. And
Yeah.
that was it.
Bases, because there's no base in Daejeon, right? Is there a military base in Daejeon? In
No.
Daegu, there is in Daegu, right?
Yeah, Daegu does.
Probably in Daegu there would be a Filipino restaurant, but probably in Daejeon you have to travel to Pyeongtaek. I'm not sure how far it is from your place.
Yeah, it's quite a distance, but it'll still be fast to get there.
In flight from Atlanta to Incheon is 771 way via United. Man, I can fly to Korea anytime. Feel the winter sonata.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not the kind of person who enjoys winter. That is the most dreaded season in Korea.
Yeah. And I'm going to be stuck here in the winter in Korea because usually at this time I go off to Thailand and the Philippines.
Good luck.
It's not happening.
This Corona thing has been lingering for almost a year now. I don't know what's the plan of Corona.
Yeah. It's
I don't
still
like
going to.
so much if it's too sweet. You have to balance. I think I have to balance with the peanut butter and the liver and stuff like that. But I'm also not fond of kare kare. It's not my favorite Filipino dish.
Ah, okay.
So if
Wow.
it's 771 way, so that would be like 1,000 400 500 two way, right?
Yeah. Or sometimes, I fly to Los Angeles for like $700 round trip.
Oh, because when I went to New York in 2017, but that was like October, so I don't think it's peak season. I paid around 1,200 or 500 US
Yeah.
dollars two-way to New
Oh,
York.
okay. So yeah, that's a longer distance.
And the
Oh,
farthest you visited in Korea, does it still mean about the restaurant thing?
no, just what cities have you kind of visited around Korea?
Okay, excluding Seoul,
Yeah,
I've been to Busan. So some parts of Busan, Haeundae, yeah, Busan, and then Jeonju
yeah,
and Cheonan, because my in-laws live there in Cheonan.
yeah,
Suwon. What other cities have I been to? The northern part. Namyangju. I've been to Namyangju because Filipino live. Actually, I will be going later in Namyangju around lunchtime because my Filipino. There will be like a gathering of Filipinas, like my
Oh, really?
older like onnis, my Filipino onnis.
Really?
And Jeju, of course, I've been to Jeju.
Hmm.
That's about it. I'm planning to. Oh, sorry. Malipo Beach. Taeyan? Have you heard of Taeyan? The
Oh,
Malipo Beach.
damn, that's the other direction.
Yeah. So I've been there. Gangwon-do, of course, Gangwon-do. I've been to Gangwon-do as well. So basically, I think the cities that you are probably familiar with as well.
Yeah. The reason I know about Taeyeon is because there's a company you heard of Carrot Global.
I work for Carrot Global.
Okay, they're like, there's a temporary job if you want it, King, but I was so busy working. It was a in-house corporate job for 3 months, 9 to 6 p.m., 3 million won a month.
Oh, that's kind of like a high. That's kind of high, right, for a 9 to 6 job in Korea.
Yeah, yeah, it's a pretty good salary, but I was so busy I couldn't do it.
I used to work for Carrot Global because they supply the instructors, right, in
Yeah,
some other stuff, other companies, but it got canceled because of Corona. Samsung is pretty much strict with their Corona protocols, but it's okay. I tried it like the 1 year stint I had, like straight 1 year. It was good. Money is also okay, but I had to wake up in the morning, because like
oh yeah,
they would study English before the start of their work. I mean, before they start working. So at 8 a.m. So I have to go there. My classes were like at 6:40 a.m. and at 7:30 a.m. But
yeah.
like
Oh,
both campuses were just like 15 minutes from my house by car. So it's kind of okay.
yeah,
But it
that,
was a Jollibee.
yeah,
But the sad thing, Bama, there's no Jollibee here.
yeah. That's the one thing I wish they would
I
have.
don't know. Nobody franchises Jollibee here. They said the government wouldn't allow it. I'm not really sure if the government wouldn't allow it, and I'm also not sure if Jollibee has considered Korea to.
Yeah,
Probably Jollibee doesn't think the market in Korea would be big, right? Because Korea has
yeah,
its own fast food chains.
yeah. I figure if they would have one or two, I think it would do well because 1 out of 4 tourists is Korean going to
Yeah, but the
Philippines.
only thing is, like, I don't know why Jollibee hasn't considered opening a franchise here.
Yeah,
Even
but
just in Seoul, if they just put in Seoul, it's understandable because, of course, Seoul.
yeah,
But nobody has. I heard from a friend that her mom considered opening a Jollibee like franchise here, but I'm not sure why they didn't push through.
yeah,
So, but I think it would be profitable. I think
yeah. Of course, recently I heard like 200 Jollibees closed down because of the COVID.
because of Corona. But do you know
Yeah.
that coffee bean green tea and leaf is actually acquired by Jollibee?
Oh, really?
It's owned by Jollibee. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering, like, at first I thought it was US according to when I was Googling it.
It's US actually, but I think Jollibee bought a big amount of shares there.
Yeah.
So I think so.
Okay. Wow. Oh my goodness. Look at all these comments. Jeez.
Are they talking to the one another, or is it for us?
Some of it is for us. So I had Philippine shabu shabu.
In Busan was awesome. I haven't tried the shabu shabu there, but they have like the restaurants. It's like would be restaurants in the morning, and at night it'd be like a bar thing.
Ah,
They
yeah,
would transition from that. No shabu shabu restaurant
yeah,
anywhere.
yeah. Oh,
Melody,
Melon.
I'm one of the Iranians. Oh, she's one of my subscribers. I'm so
Yeah,
sorry. I'm
yeah.
so sorry because Melody, because I don't know. I think you haven't joined even my live stream. I haven't
Okay.
seen you commented on my live stream, my previous live stream, so I'm not
Yeah,
familiar with you. But thank you for coming here. Please
yeah,
add Melody. Please add the King Leeway, the King
yeah,
Leeway.
yeah. Yeah, and I actually know some of your ones that did comment. I remember them.
Yeah, of course. My what do you call this? My standard, my constant
Yeah,
loyalists, part of
yeah,
my club, and they're
yeah,
like all teenagers. Kind of funny, right?
yeah, yeah. So thank you, Melanie, for joining us. And
Melody in the house.
yeah, you got the shout out from Bama.
Why I won't drink Corona beer at the same time? Daniel, so it means you're kind of offended because my nickname is Rana.
Oh, jeez.
But that's the thing with the vaccine. It's still debatable when it comes to the vaccine, right?
Yeah. So I know there's like
Russia said
Russia.
they're gonna produce the vaccine by October. China said it will be available by November. But I mean, who's willing to take that vaccine? I'm not sure because like how they are with the vaccine.
Yeah.
Did you take the train to Busan? Yes, I did. I went to Busan in 2016. Yeah, I went to Busan in 2016 with my friends.
Yeah, but
And
you know
there were no zombies during that time. I'm still alive. I was not eaten by zombies.
yeah, because he's Bama's been watching a lot of Korean movies, especially Train to Busan.
Mama, do you like psychological thrillers or something like that? Because in Netflix, I'm not sure, King, if you're familiar with the Secret Forest, or I think on Netflix, the name is Stranger.
Okay.
I like that series. Actually, they're now in season 2, and the season 2 was just finished last week. But the first season was really good.
Yeah. You're talking about Stranger Things?
No, Stranger, Korean drama.
Oh, okay, okay.
Secret Forest. Bae Duna was there. Was one of the actors. Bae Duna. Yeah.
Okay. So I gotta check it out. Yeah.
George, I'm
Not.
not so optimistic.
Yeah.
3 cards want to test face. That's the thing. They want us to be the guinea pigs.
Yeah. I remember the dirt dude's like, I'll give you $1 million if you can figure out a vaccine.
Philippine shabu shabu is amazing. Todd. I feel like Todd's favorite dishes I'm not fond of. I'm also not fond of shabu shabu. Am I weird? I just don't enjoy shabu shabu that much.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of the big things here.
Yeah, I agree. Shabu shabu.
Yeah.
A lot of like Filipinos like shabu shabu. I don't
Yeah.
know. Rush vaccines, they're only 50% effective or less. I just
Yeah.
wish Corona would decide to like disappear. Like, okay, I've spent so much time on Earth. I just want to disappear.
Yeah. So
Lost a lot of money, hence shuttered many restaurants in parts. I mean, pre-COVID, Daniel. I mean, pre-COVID, I was. What I was saying was pre-COVID. Like, why hasn't Jollibee decided to open like even just one restaurant here pre-COVID?
yeah.
Because there was a time pre-COVID they opened a lot of restaurants. I mean, they opened the first restaurant in Canada,
Yeah.
and then they have in New York and Manhattan, right?
Yeah.
In Manhattan. But anyway, in New York, there they have it. So, like, why not Korea? And in Vietnam, there's one Jollibee in Vietnam.
Yeah. And have you heard of Seafood City Supermarket?
Seafood? No.
That's only it is a Filipino chain, but not in the Philippines. But Seafood City is in Canada and the United States, and a Jollibee is right next to almost every one of them.
So is it being run by Jollibee, or is it like owned by Jollibee, or?
I don't have a clue. I think it's still run by somebody in the Philippines. I don't know which family, but there's a
Probably a
Seafood City,
Filipino Chinese.
possibly. Because sometimes there's, the Chinese Filipinos, they run some stuff over there in the Philippines too.
Yeah, they have the money and stuff.
Yeah.
Most of the Filipino Chinese, they are how do I say they're not the mainland Chinese, like their
Yeah.
ancestors, like they're immigrants, they're Chinese
Yeah.
immigrants. They migrated to the Philippines a very long time ago.
Yeah.
Jollibee's
So,
this in USA. Yeah, George, but not in Korea. We don't,
yeah.
the first order of business whenever I go home, whenever I go back, would
Yeah.
be to eat Jollibee. That's the
Wow.
first order of business, because in the airport, at the airport there's Jollibee, right? But of course,
Yeah.
once you get out of the airport, you cannot eat at Jollibee. So
Yeah.
I told you that my house is like 15 minutes away from the airport, and in my city there's like a Jollibee like 10 minutes by car from where I live, or like 5 minutes by car.
Yeah.
So we would, before I head home, I go through the drive. I mean, I pass by the drive-through, and then I get my Jollibee fix, and I'm good to go.
Yeah. Yeah. There's 2 Jollibees near me in Los Angeles where I live.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. In 2017, Jollibee was not yet open the Jollibee in New York was not yet open.
No, it was mostly in California. Yeah, Jollibee's been in California for a long time.
Because I think a lot of Filipinos, there are a lot of Filipinos in California, right?
Yeah.
What was Daniel T? I was kidding. What was his joke? I forgot. What did he commented before that?
About the vaccine.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So Stranger.
Mama, not the Stranger Things. I was pertaining to the Korean drama.
Yeah, he based on what I said, because that's a show I've watched too.
Well, Korean fried chicken is kind of better than Jollibee chicken. Wait, Daniel, you're Filipino, right? You're a stranger to the Filipino race. Don't ever say that.
Yeah. So, okay, USA, Russia, and China are the countries. that I think probably for, I don't know, is that Jollibee's, George?
From cornbread, we kind of jumped to Jollibee, right? You know that.
Yeah.
Filipino GS always want to go to Jollibee. Like Thai GS always want to KFC. I don't really care. Stuck in Florida, it's my first time to hear about Thai girlfriends always wanting to go to KFC. Because when I went to Thailand for a vacation, I don't know if that's like thing going to KFC. So
yeah. So wow. Wow, we finally caught up on comments.
Really?
Yeah. So
from cornbread to Jollibee.
Yes, to whatever, everything. We covered almost a lot of subjects today. So, all right. So we're going to end the stream here because we're almost going 3 hours, and I got to get up and do a stream too. So,
yeah.
All of you, thank you for coming out. Rona, do you have any last minute words for the subs here?
Thank you for dropping by, and please do subscribe to my channel, IRona TV, if you have time. And some of my videos have English subtitles, so you will not have a hard time understanding them. And just please be healthy and keep on supporting Thekingleeway.
Yeah, and Rona TV too. So thank you all. So everyone, wherever you are, stay safe and have a good day. Goodbye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.